Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We'll get this show on the road. Toucan Sam.
Hi.
It's good to see that nothing changes. You know what I mean?
Hey, kittens.
You know what doesn't change? War. War never changes.
War never changes. Hey, this is a little funny thing. I know we just recorded and they haven't seen them yet, but I did shave my neck beard.
Yeah. Talk about something they haven't seen yet. But I mean, let that alone. We got stuff recorded finally, so
Now we have
it's good.
stuff recorded.
We got stuff figured out, and it looks fine. I did some of the editing. Actually, the first video is already done. I got to add something into it. But
Done already?
the first one. That's
You
why.
said the comedy just writes itself. Who needs that extra fancy shit on it?
Well, yeah, that, and it was definitely a shorter video, which we need to try to get around. It was it ended up being like a 15-minute video, 14-minute
I
video.
literally said that when you said we're gonna call it there. I was like, this is gonna be like a 15-minute video, dude.
Yeah.
And you just kept going, and I was like, okay, we're just gonna make it a 15-minute video.
Yep. No, I think that's a good way.
Well, I think we did make up for it for our year one video though.
Yep.
Which is like 50 minutes.
Yeah. Speaking of that, since we're live and we hit it off the top, we've been doing as of what?
The 30th.
The 30th. We have been doing this channel. This channel's been out for over a year now. We hit a year on the 30th. So
That 1 year mark where me and the channel almost share a birthday.
yep.
Pretty fun.
It was really cool. We made a whole video just kind of talking about it. Which, funny enough, a little behind the scenes of that video. We were originally going to just record a Walking Dead video.
Yeah,
but
and then you brought up the year video and we just started going into it. And you're like, you know what? Let's just make a year one video.
Yep. So that's what we did. We just made a year one video of us talking about the year.
A lot of shit. A lot of stuff.
A lot
we
of stuff,
talked about
actually.
a lot of stuff, yeah.
Which we'll save it just for you guys to watch it. We won't really talk about it here.
It's a fun episode.
It was a really good one. Like I said, we hit a year of doing this channel, and I mean,
We talked about a lot of stuff we probably should have been already talked about, honestly. Like between me and you. Like things we should have like already had a conversation about.
What do you mean?
Well, when it came to like
personal things or like the channel?
No, like as far as the channel. Like
Oh.
leadership roles, things like that, how we felt about one another on the channel and things like that. I think that some of that stuff should have been talked about before that episode, considering we've done it for a year. But at the same time, a lot of it just went without saying, you know what I mean?
I think it was one of those things, there's like unspoken, understanding of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talked a lot about, which I'm excited for that one to come out for you guys and everything. And it was not. I wish we would have I would have thought about doing a year one video, because then we could have put way more effort and more maybe a little bit more production into it, and maybe the year one video I will take some more time to edit and stuff like that. I won't try to just bust it out, that one will be one that will come out in a later time, because I might actually really take my time and edit that one. And just so everybody knows, we're back recording stuff. We got it figured out, and we're gonna try to get a backlog. So all because stuff is recorded, it's still gonna maybe be a second before we start posting it all.
You should post that year one video as soon as possible, though.
Yeah, no, I want to. I'm gonna put a lot of my time and effort into that video. But we talked a little bit about what went on within the year of the channel. You know what I mean, and what we went through. And
Ryan got a little reflective, man. Didn't realize so much went down.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize how fucked my life was within a year. You know what I mean? Like a year of starting the channel, I didn't realize how much crazy fucking shit that I went through. Which I talked a little bit about it in the year one video. So whenever it comes out, give it a watch. Your boy went through some fucking shit within just a year of this channel.
And I said it a couple of times during that video. I was like, "This is just another year for your boy."
Yeah, boy James is hanging out, and I'm over here fucking holding on for dear life.
I said it in the video too. I'm a pretty malleable guy, so just another year.
But yeah, no, we got a bunch of stuff recorded, and happy to get back on track a little bit and be working again.
It feels good. It feels good having stuff recorded.
Yeah. But we've been doing this for a year. Thank you, everybody. Especially because I get started off with the podcast, so I do want to say some stuff now that we're live on the podcast, because it started with this. It started with the podcast. It started, started back in like 2017, 2016 area, where the very first episode of this channel of Sweet Nostalgia was recorded on my iPhone 7 Plus that I had, and it was recorded in iMovie or whatever the hell it's called. Literally, I just created a photo, like I just photoshopped some little Sweet Nostalgia thing, put it into iMovie, and then pressed record on the voiceover thing, and sat my phone in the middle of the room. And Alex, Brandon, and I just talked about Mario. I think Mario was the very first episode. I don't have the very first episode of Sweet Nostalgia, but I do have the second episode of Sweet Nostalgia, like the oldest one. So that one, I might have to go back and watch that one. We'll listen to it. But yeah, no, it's all started with this. So it's crazy to think that we're a year into it, and it is going pretty decent. You know what I mean? Still a small channel, but still growing. You know what I mean? Still growing very well.
That's right.
And, we have you guys to thank for that, for coming and hanging out and sharing it around and being a part of it and doing your thing. And other ways that we want to keep the community going and keep it together. You've heard me talk about, with the submit forms of the music and art that we have in the link tree and all the other special stuff in there, like the Hulu and the HelloFresh. So, that's us kind of in a way giving back to you, trying to in some sort of sponsorship way, give it out to you guys and, share some love back. But especially with like spreading the community and everything and having you guys submit your music so that way we can share and, share the creative, the love of creativeness.
You give me to 500 subs on this channel, I'll quit smoking.
There we go. That's the thing. 500 subs and James will stop smoking.
500 subs vaping. And I'll stop smoking.
We'll get you. We'll get there. Smoke vaping.
Smoke vape.
But welcome to the podcast. That podcast vapors. Being Sweet Nostalgia. You already know who I am. We're gonna sit here and talk about the console wars.
And I'm James.
That's the guy. But the console wars, something real dicey, something even divisive.
Something that's even older than we are, really.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
The original console war started with the Sega and the Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, when did it get big?
Well, it depends on who you are, really. For us, it wasn't until the 6th gen console war that it got big for us, right? But Sega and Nintendo were really at it during like the early or mid 80s, early 90s, again, before we were born.
Yeah.
But Sega and Nintendo were really vying and fighting over there in Japan. And then they moved, the second generation of the console war was them moving to the U.S. and trying to get the U.S. customers. And Sega did it a lot better than Nintendo did, apparently.
Annie, hi buddies.
Annie.
Been a while. We need to play a game, Annie. We played that one game together, and it was all right.
Dog shit.
It was all right. I just didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We need to find something.
And
come
play a survival crafting game with us, dude.
Grounded, yeah. Grounded's out.
I'll play Grounded with us.
Kill bugs. But I'd like for me.
The Genesis had a slogan during this time called "Genesis does what Nintendo don't."
That's a good slogan. I'll give them that.
That's so good.
That's a good slogan. But what I'll say for me personally, like thinking of Sega and Nintendo going at it.
This is long before our time.
I'm just like what's the competition for me? I'm just like, what do you have that Nintendo doesn't?
Sega was like big for their exclusive stuff. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with Nintendo, obviously. But what really drew a good line for them in the U.S. was Mortal Kombat. When Mortal Kombat moved from game cabinets to making actual cartridges.
Yeah.
Nintendo wanted theirs to be sensitized, right? It's
more family oriented.
Yeah, it's a little gory.
Not now.
It's a little brutal. You loved Sega. Sega's all right. I'm not a big fan of Sega anymore. I like Sega games, but like the Dreamcast, I never really was a fan of, or the Genesis even wasn't a huge fan of.
The only Sega thing that
the Sega Saturn fucking sucked, man.
I didn't mind Sega. I didn't really care, but it was like one of those things of like, you're not on my radar. I don't care, but I'm not going to sit here and shit talk you.
Their big thing at the time, of course, was Sonic. You know,
yeah, I was about to say like the
Nintendo
only thing
had Mario.
The only thing,
apparently we have now
we have top
have
fans
access to
now.
top fans.
I don't know
top fans now. Andy, you are our number one top fan.
I don't know what that is.
It gives position to people who comment.
Yeah. So you are number one now, because I think it's just like a new thing that
you are number one.
I think that YouTube is doing now. You just have like top fans in the chat.
You are our number one top fan.
And so the more that you talk in the chat, it will kind of reflect on here. So
now, Ezra, that does not mean spam the chat just so you can get number one position. I will not stand for that. I will ban you.
Yeah, no spamming or nothing else like that. But you can hit top fan, and I think it shows like you have like XP points and shit. If you hit the top fans thing, you now have 75 XP.
I really don't know what any of that means.
I don't know. I will look into it, and
I'm excited.
Give you this.
I'm excited for you guys to figure it out.
You have here. I get Twitch. Oh yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Garrett does have me on Twitch. He's been subscribed to me for a year, which is crazy. Like crazy to think about, and I appreciate it so fucking much. What do I get? You get that crown, that little purple crown right there.
Hey, and nice crown, dude.
Nice. You know what? This is what you get. I'm proud of you.
Round of applause.
Proud of you. I don't know the last time that you had somebody tell you that they're proud of you, but I'm here to tell you that.
If I had to guess, never.
Damn. All right. But
she's awful mean to people to have anybody in their life say that they're proud of them.
Moving on. But back to the Sega stuff like that. One big boom.
Boo. Yeah, fair enough. Now,
when it came to Sega, I like I said, it wasn't on my radar. I really didn't give a fuck. I liked Sonic. I like Sonic Adventures is really good. Sonic XD or whatever, Sonic X, when you fight Liquid Sonic or whatever.
Sorry. It just shouldn't be like that. I'm proud of you too.
But it was cool. I didn't mind it. It didn't carry, for me, Sega just didn't carry any weight. And even then too, I want to and you know, you can look at the statistics or whatever, but like you had Sonic. Like what else did they really have that like?
I mean, I'm sure
for
they had
them
a lot.
that
sure
could carry them in the war.
But like it was long before.
The Game Gear was cool. I did like that. The Sega Game Gear, their handheld.
That was their handheld. Yeah.
It was fucking massive. That thing was a cinder block.
Well, to be fair, so was the Game Boy.
No,
the Game Boy was pretty big.
It was big, but the Game Gear was like...
The Game Gear was huge.
The Game Gear is like...
No, but if you think about it in the scope of portables, the portables we have nowadays are fucking huge.
I mean, kinda. So, I mean, like, yeah, the Steam Deck is about the same size overall.
Dude. What are you talking about?
No, well, yeah, I'm saying, like, yeah, lengthwise of like that or whatever. I mean, I don't know where my Switch is over there. Like... The Sega, the Game Gear was like as big lengthwise as a Steam Deck, but like it was thick. It was a chunky fucker. Granted, like it was like what time I don't know when it came out, but yeah, in the sense of console wars, it's just I don't. The Nintendo Entertainment Center system just. The NES, it was just a household fucking thing, and I feel like, and it spread across all families. So many people did it. When I feel like that the Sega was like almost a niche, for niche people. It was like not as big in like a family home, and sold as much as what the NES did. I don't feel like it. I don't feel and that's the thing. I'm just saying feelings, and feelings aren't facts or anything. But like, I don't feel like the Sega was as impactful as the NES or as Nintendo was.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. Like I never really owned a Sega. Really, I mean, I've played plenty of Sega consoles and I've played Sega games, but as far as like having one full time, never. And I never really. Earthworm Jim, Street Fighter, Toe Jam, and Earl. There are so many Sega games. Yeah, but that's the thing. I know 2 of those, right? Earthworm Jim is a fun game.
I know all
Street
of them.
Fighter. I love Street Fighter. I've always been a fan of Street Fighter.
But did Street Fighter start off in cabinets though?
Street Fighter started off in cabinets, but Sega made those cabinets.
I mean, if it was like a Sega game, because Street Fighter is Capcom.
Yeah.
So, but
no, Sega did not make those cabinets. Well, it's the same thing with Mortal Kombat, right? Activision got their start from game cabinets.
Yeah. So I'm saying directly Sega, because like Nintendo, Mario is Nintendo.
Yeah. So
nobody else.
The second generation of the console war was like them acquiring third-party companies to make video games. Sega got their hands on Capcom, which gave them Street Fighter, and Nintendo, they got some
Nintendo.
I don't remember.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think Nintendo is just like, we're good.
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage is still a fun game. They still make them, and they're still fun.
But
these side scroller beat 'em ups are just fun.
Yeah, kind of like Rampage and shit like that.
Yeah, Double Dragon Neon. That was a great game too.
But yeah, so like as like name like straight from the source, Sega branded Sega games and shit. Like it just didn't like you got Vector Man, you got fucking Sonic. What is there that really, whenever you say Sega and you think of like Sega characters straight from Sega, not that was a cabinet coming into it or anything. It's like straight Sega characters. Like what you think of Sonic? And who else? You know what I mean? And
I think Sega acquired Atari.
Yeah, see, like they're acquiring people. They're liquefying these other companies and bringing them into their own thing versus just creating their own characters, their own IPs and shit like that. Versus Nintendo, like they created Mario, they created Donkey Kong, they created Metroid, they created Link, and created their own characters. And the thing is,
Sega here it reads Sega paid a lot of celebrities to get so they have Pat Riley basketball, Arnold Palmer golf, Joe Montana football, Michael Jackson Moonwalker.
Oh yeah, that Michael Jackson. Well, yeah, was that a Sega game?
Yeah.
So I know there's like a Nintendo. I can't Google right now because I'm driving. Oh, well.
She really wants to stand on business on this Sega thing, bro.
Well, when you get back to wherever you're going, you can Google and hit us with the Google facts. But that's what I'm saying. But you say Nintendo, and you think of Nintendo characters. You're gonna think Mario, Donkey Kong, Link. Well, you can say Zelda, Metroid, all these characters. And the thing is, every single one of those characters is super impactful on so many different levels. You know what I mean? There's so many a lot of Mario games. There's a bunch of Donkey Kong games. Zelda's super huge. So is Metroid. All this shit is super big. And you think of Sega and like their name brand titles and shit like that. Sonic. And Sonic is huge.
Yeah.
Sonic is very huge. I'm a fan of Sonic. But like when you want to try to compare the two, it just doesn't. I don't think Sega holds a light up to the impact that Nintendo has. I'm not, and that's not me talking down.
I was wrong earlier. Sega struggled a lot for their Western launch. Nintendo did a lot better.
Oh yeah,
a lot better.
No,
the
NES,
the Sega just did not very well over here.
No,
they did fine. They did fine in Japan. But ultimately, I mean, we see where they are now. They're still making games, but they're not making consoles. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. They're just and also they're just using their name because like they own the companies that are making those games.
Yeah.
And
So
shit.
the two big IPs that they had, as far as I'm just kind of like skimming through here, but the two biggest ones that they had was Street Fighter and Sonic, and their Mortal Kombat did very well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, Mortal Kombat was released on that and Nintendo. So
so you can't even count that because it got released on both.
Well, it only did better because it wasn't sensitized. I mean, it was sensitized, but they were like in every manual for the Sega release, they put in the manual like, here, you can put this cheat code in if you want blood, guts, and fatalities. Nintendo got rid of the blood for like sweat that would like be punched out of them and stuff. Yeah. And it completely got rid of fatalities on Nintendo. Couldn't do fatalities at all. But the Sega let you do it.
Yeah, Nintendo, all the way up until like the Switch, they're very family friendly.
PG.
Yeah. Now they have like Wolfenstein and everything else. Like everything on there. Doom's on there now.
So we just covered generation 1 through 4 of the video game war. Basically,
yeah.
It was just Sega and Nintendo for a long time.
Yeah, because like I said, they're just Nintendo revolutionized home gaming. You know what I mean? Like bringing consoles into the home and bringing video games into the home. Like Nintendo.
I wonder which one came first. Was it Sega or Nintendo?
I think it might have been Sega, but you'd have to look. Because I think technically Sega
I'm looking it up.
But I can't remember. Because I think the NES came out in, 83? Or something? But yeah, like I was saying, Nintendo just revolutionized gaming in that sense of bringing the consoles home, bringing video games into people's homes. And bringing video games that like a lot of people could play. I know like I think like a little bit before that you had the Atari.
Nintendo came before.
Okay. When did it came out? 83?
Nintendo was founded in 1889 as a playing card company. While
Sega was
I remember that. In 1960.
I do remember Nintendo coming out.
This isn't telling me.
Just look up when the NES came out. Because, I knew Nintendo started as like a trading card company and shit, which is wild, but...
Nintendo released their first console in 1977.
77? That's when they... with like Game & Watch or whatever?
I think so, yeah.
Well, when did the NES come out?
While Sega's first console, the SG-1000 came out in 1983.
What about the NES? Yeah, like I was saying, it brought it into people's homes. It brought games into the home that
83.
everybody... Yep, okay, that's what I thought.
Well, they came out, I think they came out roughly the same time.
Yeah, I think you just said that whatever.
This was July 15, 83. Then...
Also, look up when the Atari first came out. Because, like, I think the Atari maybe came out before... I can't remember.
Also, July 1983 was the SG-1000.
Oh, so Sega and Nintendo released.
Sega and Nintendo released side by side.
Yep, and, and so it was a fair shake. They both had a fair shake at it, and Sega just lost it, you know what I mean? Just wasn't good.
The Atari came out in 1977, dog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I thought. Like you did have the Atari, and you had like games and shit.
As far as console wars goes, as soon as like Sega and Nintendo like started like releasing consoles, Atari got blew out of the water quick.
Yeah. I just wanted to put it out there. Like I know that like the Atari had been out, and a lot of people played the Atari. A lot of people loved the Atari, and it was like a console in people's homes and stuff like that. But gaming in the household and family gaming and all that shit excuse me, got really, that's when it shot up. It got real mainstream and mainlined and everything, and not in a bad way, but like is with the NES. The NES changed the face of like home gaming.
Atari lost a lot with the video game crash of 83. They went out of business in 84 because of it.
Yeah.
They were bought by another corporation that turned it into Atari Corporation, and they just made Atari games or other consoles.
Yeah. And because the release of Mario,
apparently Hasbro bought them in 98.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I've seen some stuff like that.
And then they were bought by Midway in 96.
Because Hasbro, whenever you would play a lot of those like Hasbro Wii games or whatever that had like a bunch of board games and stuff like that on there, I think you would see a lot of Atari shit on there.
Probably, yeah.
All
right.
But Atari. Atari. I mean, Atari had some cool shit. Pitfall was fun. You know what I mean? Pitfall is cool.
Pitfall's a very basic game, though.
But yeah, they're very, very basic games. But yeah, coming with the NES and everything. I mean, you got Mario and Duck Hunt with it. You know what I mean? You got the Zapper gun, and it was games that everybody could play, and it just revolutionized gaming and home gaming and console gaming and all that shit. And it's a crazy time. I would have loved to had grown up in that time, like when the NES and the SNES was coming out and everything. It would be insane. You know what I mean?
I'm fine with being born when I was.
Honestly. I mean, I'm 28 now and I have this fucking thousands of dollar PC where I can play games that I can barely I can barely distinctive I can barely see it. Fuck me, I can't think of what I'm saying. I can barely tell if it's a real life or a video game. You know what I mean? It's so like the graphics are so insane, and like they have like these very intricate things, and you can simulate anything. But also at the same time, we're at this day and age with video games where it's getting very stale. You know what I mean? Like games are getting very stale, in my opinion. And like, yes, you can do so much with it, but I think having more, the saying, having more isn't always great. You know what I mean? It can really, because you like have all this shit to do, or there's so much stuff to do, you're just like overwhelmed and overstimulated, or like you're just like, I don't know what to do, or can't tell what's the main thing and what's the side thing.
Did you hear about the new petition going around?
No.
The Stop Killing Games petition?
No, I haven't seen it.
So currently, people in the UK and the EU are signing a petition for game companies to stop killing off games that people have paid for, right?
Oh, yeah.
So take a game like Anthem, right? The old EA game where you play a dude that flies around in a mech suit. They killed that game. Like the servers, I don't think the servers are active anymore. Either way, so this Stop Killing Games petition is basically keeping game companies accountable and like updating their servers even if the game is dead, because people paid money for that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So if the games that run off servers, if the game servers are down, nobody can play it. So basically, it's just wasted money, right? So this petition is to stop game companies from doing that.
I'm down for that.
It's actually like they're trying to pass laws to keep game companies accountable for their servers. And like it's big game companies like Ubisoft and EA and
because
a lot of AAA companies that there's like they crank out a game, doesn't do hot, shut it down, right? But some people do enjoy those games, So it's not fair to the person who spent however much money, $60 to $80. Even if you spent more than that on deluxe editions, that feels worse, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I felt about right now. Right now in the U.S., you can't sign it, right? Right now it's just a UK EU thing.
But once shit gets passed in the look at Apple. Once things get passed in the EU, it's coming right over here.
We're trying. So. I was looking into it a lot last night. Because it's something I care about pretty passionately. There are a few games that I have lost over the years because they want to shut them down.
Yeah, I'm playing Dune right now, and that's all running off of servers and shit. And so like they shut that, like that game's fucked. You're done. Can't play it anymore.
Live service games, right? Live service, server-based games.
That's what really sucks about like why don't like it's say like you make a game like that. Why don't you make it to where you can just have a offline fucking world? You know what I mean? Like I get having the servers and having people on it, but like a game like Dune, like you're surviving and stuff like that. And the thing is, the whole time that I've been playing it with like Garrett and stuff. Speaking of Dune, got us some goodies. Yeah, I'm playing it with Garrett, and literally we've been playing it. I have probably like 10, 20 hours into it already, and
I heard you got pissed off last night.
Yeah, I did. I fucking shut it off, and the entire time that we played it, I've maybe seen 2 other like actual players except for him, maybe. And the one could have not even, it could have just been another NPC, but one was...
Could that just be how big the map is?
Yeah, I mean, probably. But it's just like, but like what I'm getting at is just like, you can play that game by yourself. That game has the ability to play by yourself and to survive and go do the missions and shit like that. I don't need other players in this server. You're just doing that just because online gaming and whatever the fuck. I don't need other people. That game can survive. I'm pretty sure playing it as much as I have been, it could survive by itself. The NPCs and the enemies whoop your ass. Like, so you can survive off of that. And then you do have the scares of like the worm or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know what that worm's called. I never watched Dune.
You really should. They're pretty good. No, but anyway, so the Stop Killing Games petition, the goal is to prevent publishers from making online-only games permanently unplayable. That's like their ultimate. For it. That's their ultimate goal, is to stop online-only games permanently unplayable, which is basically to say, give us an offline mode.
Yeah, that's like what I was just saying. Give us an offline mode, because like
another part of the petition is for Left 4 Dead specifically. Another part of the petition is bring Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 to Xbox Game Pass or the game store. Target, Xbox, and Valve key issue: a gaming shifts to digital. Older games are becoming less accessible. Now, I mean, I can kind of understand that. At the same time, I'm pretty sure if you own them already, you just have them. So there's that. But I do understand why people want them on Game Pass.
Are they on the Game Pass?
Classic. No, I don't think they are. I mean, maybe. But
do you just own them?
I own them.
Oh, okay. So that's how we played them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're on Game Pass. I don't look at Game Pass too often, but I don't think they are. But if there are in the US, it could be different for the EU, UK, right? So
whenever, I mean, I could see that if Xbox is doing this whole Steam thing, you got access to Steam. And I'm sure that the Steam it's not going to be PC Steam. I'm sure it's going to be some sort of different variation of Steam. But I'm sure...
the Xbox?
Yeah.
The Xbox Ally?
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be PC Steam.
Okay, yeah. So right there you have access to
run some hoops to buy Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Just put an emulator on there or some shit. But so I mean, this is good since we're talking about Xbox and shit like that. I think that does lead into the next era of
there's just one little tiny bit before we get into our era, the 5th generation of video game consoles, when PlayStation 1 was released.
The PlayStation.
So yeah, the PlayStation. You had the Sega Saturn, you had the Nintendo 64, and you had the PlayStation 1, all vying for top component.
Get fucked. You got the N64. I mean, yeah, you can sit there and argue PlayStation. What did the PlayStation have when it came out?
It's not really an argument. PlayStation sold a lot more in the U.S. They did struggle in Japan, but in U.S., the PlayStation sold pretty well.
Because that's when that's like the first switch over to CD or compact.
Yeah, so
disc.
CD. Yeah, the biggest draw was CD-ROMs.
Yep.
So the Nintendo 64 and the Sega, they did not have CD-ROM. PlayStation, of course they did, because I'm pretty sure PlayStation made CDs like for
Sony
big cash flow. I'm pretty sure. I
don't know where they came from. I watched like a whole fucking history thing of like discs and shit, and there's people. What's wild? There's people out here that will like living right now. like right now that probably have never physically touched or seen a CD.
A VHS.
Well, no, well VHS, which that I'm you know, it's kind of getting to that point where I'm like, okay, but like the fact that there's kids out there.
I don't think there are kids that haven't like seen or touched one. I still think there are a lot of kids who have parents that still own a lot of DVDs or CDs.
So I worked at a Goodwill for a little while. I was managing a store in Muncie for a bit, and
tell me you saw a 20-some-year-old asking what a CD was.
It wasn't like a 20-year-old, but it was like a teenage girl, like her friends, her and a friend. They walked over to, I think the DVDs or the CDs. I think it was the CDs. And one of them said to her friend, she's like, "Yeah, my dad said these are called CDs. I don't know what they are." And I was just like, I put my hand, like I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What just happened?" Whoa. I was like, "That's insane." Because you hear our parents talk about it, like, "Oh, you don't know what this is? You don't know what a track is?" And it's just like, "No, you fucking fossil, I don't." And it's like, but whenever that happened, floppy disk, yeah. When that happened, I had that feeling. I was like, I get it. It just hit me of like,
yep,
of like, wow. And like, I'm not even that old because I mean, at the time, I think I was like 27, 26, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I was like, is it like it just kind of hit you? You know what I mean? It's like you had that moment that you realize that you're no longer this age and shit like that. And I'm just like, fucking wow. I hate this. I absolutely hate this. And because it's just wild, because like CDs,
it's one of those feelings that because it makes you feel incredibly old.
Yeah, and
you
like
know what I mean?
To me, like discs, I don't feel like discs are that old. You know what I mean? I don't even still feel like cartridges are that old.
Blu-rays are like the only form of media that they sell movies on, right?
Well, yeah, and I remember when Blu-ray became a thing. You know,
wow. We'll get there in a second.
Like Blu-ray, like. It was like such a revolutionary thing, and it was so big, and I remember like they were pushing it so much, and so like, and Blu-ray players were so expensive, and now you can get a Blu-ray player for like $30 at Walmart.
Yeah, $30 straight
or
up,
$20 even, I think. You know, what I mean?
because now we have live streaming.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah, no, because Netflix, for you kids out there, Netflix used to send you in the mail.
Netflix, you would, yeah, dude. Oh, I completely forgot.
They had to send you shit in the mail.
They would send you the DVD.
Yeah,
and if you paid extra, they would be Blu-ray.
Yeah. Netflix, they used to send you the fucking movie in the mail. And that's how you watched it. Now you get on Netflix and you have access to. We are older than
Google.
Yeah.
Wait, are we really?
Google's not that old, actually. Google's not that old.
Christ. That's crazy.
But yeah, so it's so wild to think about that shit. But yeah, back to the consoles and stuff. I don't. So what? Yeah, what did Sony? What? Because like I know what was on the Sega at the time for the most part, and I definitely know what was on the N64 at the time. What the fuck did Sony release with? Like with the PlayStation.
I want you to guess.
All I ever played on the OG PlayStation was the Game of Life. Like that's it? Yeah, that's the only thing I played on OG PlayStation.
Okay, well, some of the big ones that they had,
not like
two of the biggest selling ones at the time were Twisted Metal and Final Fantasy.
Okay, fair enough. Twisted Metal, you know what I mean? It's kind of like keep it or leave it, but Final Fantasy, yeah, I could see that.
Final Fantasy, huge. You know, I mean, it birthed an entire franchise that just released its 16th game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, Sony did really well because 3D graphics were a thing now.
Yeah.
So Sony hit the ground running, dude. They had 3D everything. You know, they were the 3D console. They had CD-ROMs on their side. The controller design was very unique and different, and people really took to it. You know what I mean? It ran a lot.
I'll say one thing that stayed consistent.
It ran a lot faster than the cartridges because it was 64-bit instead of 32-bit.
Yeah. I'd say that's one thing for Sony that's stayed like the same. Their controller quality is fucking dog shit. That like it's like,
yeah, but compared to the N64 controller and the Sega Saturn controller, It was pretty good.
It was small.
I still
Smaller.
hate the N64 controller.
The N64 controller is strange, but it's not bad.
No, it's awful.
It sat well in
you're
the
holding
hand.
on to 3 separate cocks, dude. It's like you either hold it here, or if you had to use the D-pad, it's way over here. The intuitiveness of it was just dumb.
If you ever had because like here's the thing, you have a game where you have the stick and you're moving around with that, you grab it in the middle and then you're controlling the stick and you have your buttons and shit. Then if you're playing a game where you don't need the analog stick, you can grab it over here and use the D-pad or whatever. You can hold whatever way of playing it.
This was ultimately why the PlayStation controller was better, because it was smaller and it wasn't a bunch of wasted plastic.
But there wasn't wasted plastic. You used every bit of it.
Wasted plastic. No, you did not use every bit of it.
Yeah, you did.
In every game, that came out with in every game that came out with the N64, you chose to use the D-pad or you chose to use the stick. It wasn't one or the other.
No, there's games that you can swap between the two.
I always use the stick. I don't remember a single game I played on the 64.
Using analog over a fucking D-pad is always going to be better, depending on what you play. If you're playing a platformer.
That's what I'm saying the game didn't force an option into you. It just always was what it was. You either chose to play with the D-pad or you chose to play with the stick, right? So either way, there's a bit of plastic getting wasted there.
Well, some could argue that the entire plastic controller itself with Sony is a waste because it's a shitty controller.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you there.
I'm just talking shit.
The PlayStation controller is shit, but against the controllers at the time was better.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I would take the Dreamcast controller. How big and fucking crazy that thing was.
The Dreamcast controller actually wasn't too bad. It was just really round and not ergonomically pleasing to hold.
No, it was not pleasing to hold at all.
But the N64 controller was worse than both.
I don't think so.
I did not like that controller at all.
I
agree to disagree.
I mean, of course, it's all down to preference and that thing. The only thing that I hope that we agree on, and which we do, is that the PlayStation controller is dog shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I will stand vehemently to that. I don't like it at all.
It's horrible.
But
absolute dog shit.
I want to play Helldivers, so I'm going to deal with it.
Just plug your keyboard and mouse up to it.
I no.
You would rather play with that shitty fucking controller than hook your mouse and keyboard up to it?
It's not like I would. I would rather not be uncomfortable while playing it out in the living room.
Do what I used to do and just pull the coffee table up.
Yeah, brother, I'm like a few inches taller than you. It's not as easy.
Get over it. But yeah, I don't know. It had its stuff, and the numbers speak for itself, and I get, it did sell more, and it sold but
it wasn't by much. They all sold millions of units, right?
But I'll still the N64 and because the N64 came out before the PlayStation did, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because the whole thing that started the boom of 3D gaming was Mario 64. Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, because a lot of people will give shit about Nintendo in the realm of the console wars and stuff like that, and even still today, Nintendo, at every peak moment of gaming, revolutionary wise, Nintendo has been there. You know what I mean? They brought consoles into the home. They created this whole 3D thing with Super Mario. Well, with Mario 64.
Ooh. So here's a little. I'm sorry to interrupt, actually, but this got me this crazy, actually. So because the 32-bit CPU in the N64 compared to the 64-bit CPU in the PlayStation, Squaresoft, who made the first Final Fantasy game, they were going to be a Nintendo game. They decided to move to Sony because they had higher processing speed.
Yeah.
And they could really dive into that 3D gaming thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I won't sit there and argue at the time, obviously, still to this day, obviously the PlayStation has better hardware or whatever. But the thing is, Nintendo is very, very good, because anybody that knows Nintendo, it's called Nintendo Polish. They're the same thing with Apple. There's an Apple Polish, in the phone world. Nintendo's very good at taking what they have and using it to be able to do these cool and very pretty things. You know, you play on the Switch and you play like Mario 3D Land or 3D World or whatever, and you look at some of the stuff and like graphically it just looks good. The art's good. The lava looks good. And then this, like these certain things that Nintendo polish where like games run at a solid 60 FPS plus or whatever. You never see it dip anywhere below that because they know how to, they do that Nintendo polish and shit. And a lot of times too, there's no online gaming. It's just whatever. And like even with a lot of their online stuff, it's just optimized. And, you know, we're getting a little bit ahead getting into like the Switch and like Splatoon, or I mean the Wii U and Switch with Splatoon. But like it's just all optimized and everything. Even when it comes to the online stuff with Splatoon, on the single player, you had like these like glitter bombs and everything, and you would throw them in the single player, and you would see glitter, and it would cover people and everything, and it still ran fine at a 60 FPS. But then you switched to online, Nintendo took the glitter out of that bomb because it started tanking their FPS. So they're like, we'll take it out for the online, but leave it in for the offline. That way, you know, they're very good at optimizing their shit.
The frame thing has always been an issue with the Switch, at least.
What, frame rate?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people had problems with the frame rates, and Breath of the Wild, namely. People hated the frame rates in Breath of the Wild.
I don't think I've ever noticed really any issues when I played. But yeah, back to the.
I watched one of the tech reviews on the Switch too, and the first thing he put in was Breath of the Wild. He's like, dude, it runs smoother than it ever did on the Switch. And I was like, damn, I didn't really notice that it had those issues because I've only put like 6 hours in the game.
You got to think too, like you're playing a game that originally came out, because people forget Breath of the Wild came out on the Wii U. It didn't come out on the Switch. It came out on the Wii U. So you're playing. But
you would think that it wouldn't have frame issues on the console a generation later.
Well, I mean, yeah, that might be something with like the processing stuff or the hardware of that. But like, of course, it's going to run way better when you got a console that is much stronger than its previous iteration, and then much stronger than the original console that game came out on, and a console that has 120 hertz refresh rate versus the 60 or whatever or I think it had 60 on this first Switch.
You really are a Nintendo stan, aren't you?
I love Nintendo, dude. I will forever love Nintendo.
You just straight up made a huge excuse on why the game was dog shit frame rate when it was released on the Wii U, and then it was still bad on the Switch.
In my experience, I never had any frame
2 generations after it released.
But like I said, from my experience, I never had a bad frame rate experience playing the game. So, you know, I never saw any of that. I never experienced anything that anybody was like, oh, there's bad frame rate. I was like, this runs fine for me. I'm not having any issues.
I don't know what part of the game you ever made it to, but I know I never got far enough for that to be an issue for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw anything. But back to like the Dreamcast and everything. I mean, so speaking of the Dreamcast, because I think that's when Sonic Adventure came out, was on the Dreamcast, and that was an amazing game. Loved it. So I'm like when it comes to the Dreamcast and it comes to Sega, they're always just going to kind of be on the back burner. I don't think they're really, like. Well, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say
the Sega Dreamcast revolutionized online playing.
Yeah, it did bring in online play. So, you know, we'll give it that. And, you know, and Sega brought a lot of shit into the world. You know, brought us Sonic and did the, you know, online gaming and shit. And we can give them their dues and stuff. I just don't think it didn't hit like what Sony and what Nintendo did. I don't think it just didn't have as much of an impact and change in the gaming world as much as that did. Because even though it brought online stuff, you know, going into the next generation and everything, that's when the Xbox and PlayStation, like, you know, that's when online gaming really.
They made the Sega Dreamcast and then sold very little and stopped. They stopped making consoles altogether.
Yeah. No, so I mean, Sega, you missed, kind of. You know, we acknowledge you, but you're not cut out for, you know.
So the 6th generation, of the console war, the Sony versus Microsoft.
This is when it starts getting real nasty.
This is when it becomes our generation of shit.
This when it gets real dicey.
This was PlayStation 2 and original Xbox.
The Duke. I will say,
which, if you guys don't know, PlayStation Stew. PlayStation 2 is still the number one selling console of all time. The number one selling console of all time still is in 2025. So it's kind of easy to tell who wins this first generation, eh?
Yeah. So we'll speak both metrically, I guess, is maybe the word. Like we'll talk about the numbers, but then we'll talk about our personal experience and where it impacted us and our side of the war, I guess.
This is
it's like what we've been doing.
Like Ryan said, this is where shit gets nasty. This is where game companies start coming at each other's throats.
Yeah,
here's a quote from the former president of Sony at the time. He said he did not see Nintendo as a competitor outside of Japan. He focused his attention primarily on the Xbox brand. The Xbox was a more comparable high-end system, while Sony had considered the Nintendo was bringing a young audience into gaming, and some of them, when they grow up, might graduate to more mature systems like PlayStation or Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, especially around that time, like as I mean, we all
coming at each other's throats, dude.
Like we just said, I am a huge Nintendo fan. It will never go away. I grew up playing Nintendo as much as everybody else, other people did, and a lot of people did, switch. Because if I had to, spoiler warning, if I had to pick one, I'm going to pick an Xbox over a PlayStation. But we'll get into my personal stuff with all that. But I love Nintendo. I collected Game Boys. I have an N64. I have 2 Wiis. I have an NES. Have my Switch. I plan to buy the Switch 2. I have my GameCube. And,
spoiler warning, James has every edition of the Xbox.
Yeah, I love Nintendo. And I know Nintendo, they're more kid games and they're whatever. But, I fucking love Metroid. I love Zelda. I love Mario. Those games, they hit me as a kid, and they still are good now. You know what I mean? I still love playing almost every Mario game. Still love every Zelda game. I mean, for the most part, because we did just talk about there are certain Zelda games that are dog shit in comparison. Skyward Sword mainly.
Wink, wink.
But it just because what was out at that time for that part of the war? The GameCube, right? So we'll talk numbers, and then we'll talk personally. Numbers, obviously, Sony greatly outperformed the Xbox.
Yep. So PlayStation 2 knocked it out of the park. Xbox, the only thing they had going for them was Halo.
Yeah, well, let's talk about consoles, console numbers, like their units sold and shit in comparison to each other.
So let's see here. The original Xbox did not compete well against PlayStation 2, selling only about 24 million units worldwide against the PlayStation 2's units of 155 million.
How about the GameCube?
Doesn't say.
Yeah, because I understand that the Xbox and the PlayStation were the two big dogs on that, but we still got to give it to the boy GameCube, because if you
I'm looking it up.
You talk about anybody about the GameCube is probably is the most loved Nintendo console. You know what I mean? And rightfully so.
Whoa.
What?
It sold worse than the original Xbox.
Sold worse? Yeah, because you had
21 million units worldwide.
And then what? The Xbox had 22?
24.
24. Yeah, okay, but so not by much. But
it's still lost to the original Xbox, dude. And the GameCube is incredible.
Yeah, the GameCube is it's so
that does not make any sense to me at all.
Well, but it does in the same vein of it's talked numbers wise of it does. The PlayStation and Xbox are more powerful than the GameCube.
Yeah.
And the Xbox.
But the GameCube had those funny little CDs, dude.
Very. And, and the Xbox and PlayStation definitely had more.
Straight up, Papa Horn. You got it.
Yes,
GameCube is the greatest Nintendo console ever.
Yes, it is. The Xbox, the OG Xbox, and the PlayStation 2, it did because you had online gaming, especially with like Halo. And we'll get into that because I feel like it's a whole thing that we need to talk about here in a second. You had Halo and online. You had more mature stuff with both consoles and shit. You can play online, but like, but the GameCube just gave us just some fucking bangers, dude. And a lot of people forget. Like we'll talk about mature stuff. Resident Evil 4 is a GameCube exclusive. Like Resident Evil 4. Like, now it's putting on. Like now you can play it in fucking VR.
Yeah, now it's fucking everywhere.
But it like Res 4 was a GameCube exclusive, and that's one of the most loved fucking Resident Evil games.
It's not the most.
Like that's why I got a remaster. That's why it's on VR. But like Resident Evil 4 is the most loved Resident Evil game, and it originally came out on the GameCube. And then you had games like Mario Sunshine, you had Melee, you had Luigi's Mansion, you had Metroid Prime, you had fucking Twilight Princess was on the GameCube. Yeah, you had Twilight Princess. So much shit on the GameCube.
And then you had the Zelda collection that came out.
The Zelda collection that had the OG, it had Ocarina of Time, it had
okay, just to simplify it, it had basically every one but the portable games.
Yeah, like everything leading up to that. So much shit that the GameCube had, and then you had the Game Boy adapter where you can play all your Game Boy games on there. You had
nothing beats Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles with the Game Boy.
Yeah,
to play multiplayer. It was so fun.
And at the time too, you had the Game Boy Advance coming out. We're talking more about the home consoles and not the handheld consoles and shit. But you had stuff where you can hook your Game Boy up to it and play games or transfer stuff from your Game Boy to your GameCube. You know what I mean? And vice versa and shit. It's just so much shit with the GameCube. And like I will die on that hill that the GameCube is one of the best consoles. I think it's just like it wasn't like anything super revolutionary like the PlayStation or Xbox. But
it wasn't at all, actually.
It just came out with the best games.
The best thing about the GameCube was like the attachments for it, bro. You could put a whole ass fucking screen on that.
Yeah, take that bitch anywhere. That was the first like mobile console because like it had that. People forget.
Very sick.
People forget that it has a fucking handle on the back of it. I don't know if my GameCube is relatively available just to pluck out, but like the X-Men for Sega was amazing.
I'll go get mine real quick. Mine's pretty easy to get.
Yeah, I can't remember. Mine's like in a bag. I don't know if I can easily get it out or not. But there was just so much stuff that you can do. Sega, X-Men on the Sega I did play that one. That one was good. Sega had a lot of good games. I think at this point with the PS2, Xbox, and the GameCube, Sega is already done and out of the races at that point because it died off with the Dreamcast going up against the N64 and the PlayStation, not the PS1, but the PlayStation. And but the GameCube on why you got that good little handle right there. You can just grab that son of a bitch, carry it on with you. Hell, if you need to, bash a motherfucker's face in with it. You know what I mean? Just sock him right there to it. And then right there, that little fat little tumor you have growing out the front of it, you got the Wavebird.
The Wavebird, baby.
One of like the first going into the first era of wireless controllers. You know what I mean?
Where they had these little adapters. Well, first of all, even look at the adapter bit. It's flat on top. Yeah. This was different for controllers at the time too.
Yeah. It was
just cool stuff, man.
Yeah, you got the Wavebird, Wavebird.
And these sons of bitches.
Yeah, fucking memory cards, an era, dude, Jesus fuck. Like, that's what's crazy. Hold on, I am going to try to grab mine, because I do have 2 memory cards in mine.
Yeah, you fucking you got to push a whole button just to open that bad boy up. Look at that, I got Pikmin 2 in this bitch, dog. Oh, I love Pikmin 2, dude. Click the little middle button, get your little little tiny little CDs, bro. This fucking son of a bitch. Look at that. My God, dude. man. I gotta hook this son of a bitch up and play it again. But dude, you had like, there's this little thing here you could take off and add another attachment to it. And then another one here. Add another attachment. Another one right here. So this was
all right. Yep, I do. I got
hook
mine
up to it, and it would like raise it. There's one back here that was like the monitor hookup. You could just fucking fly it over the top. Have that sumbitch just posted right here, bro. So sick.
But yeah, no.
I got Pikmin 2 in this son of a bitch right now,
you
bro.
got Pikmin 2 sitting in there?
Yeah.
I have Disney Extreme Skate Adventure inside of mine.
Nice.
Right. That's what I had. That was the last game I was playing.
This is two grown-ass men getting giddy about an old-ass console. Man.
But I have my... This is one I had as in my childhood. This is mine from when I was a kid. I had the Pokemon XD edition one. So that was also the other cool thing. You had these special edition fucking... It started with the GameCube. You had these special edition consoles and shit.
Mine is actually the original GameCube. Just a straight black one.
The Pokemon XD, the Gale of Darkness one. But yeah, and then my OG as a childhood still have from whenever I played it as a kid, all the saves and shit. But this is 16 megabytes. Can you believe that shit? 16 megabytes. I don't think I have a game on my Steam account.
This is actually a Nintendo brand memory card.
This is Joytech, and then the fucking guy, Mad Cat.
The guy. Yep.
The Mad Cat.
Mad Cat was huge back in the day, dude.
And there was just something so cool about these, you know what I mean? Just plucking that son of a bitch in there. I don't know. It made you feel like you know, in those like spy movies and like, oh, you got to plug in the hard drive to download the virus so we can hack it and whatever and shit.
I'm not a fucking dork, but yeah.
No, I mean I am, but yeah, and because like whenever I was a kid, like we would always talk about, you know, like, oh, like that's my memory card because that's the black memory card.
Yeah.
And then, you know, yours is the gray one or whatever and shit, or the orange one. And oh yeah, you had all these different ports and shit on the back. I think you're talking about. You had that high speed port.
There's a high speed adapter. There was the
Game Boy adapter.
The cooling base, right? You can makes it a little bit taller, but it also cooled the system.
Yeah, there's so many.
And then you had the one where you can turn it into a monitor.
Mm-hmm. 2001. My sister was just born. Taylor.
What? Her birthday year is a compound sentence.
I used to always, because like she was born in August, so like a month before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, almost on 9/11. I've heard the joke.
Yeah, well, I mean, they haven't, but
yeah, they have. You've said it on the channel.
Did I? Well, yeah. No, well, I'll say it again, just because it was funnier than fuck. I used to tell my sister growing up all the time, because you know most kids will tell their siblings that they were adopted. I told my sister that 9/11 was her fault. Do it all the time. I tell her all the time that 9/11 was her fault. It's funnier than fuck to me growing up. But yeah. So, so speaking personally, I know that the GameCube does not shine a light to PlayStation 2 in terms of sales, and even as we learned, the Xbox, and in terms of, you know, revolutionary and stuff like that. It's just the GameCube gave out so many games that are part of so many gamers, you know, past their life. You know what I mean? With like the, you know, the Melee and shit like that, especially with fans of, you know, Super Smash Bros. Like, we wouldn't, like, Smash wouldn't be as big as it is if it wasn't for Melee. You know what I mean? And like what we talked about this the other day, there's still Super Smash Bros. Melee, like, tournaments going on to this day. You know what I mean? There's still people you can...
if Nintendo doesn't get in the way of that.
You can scroll through... I've scrolled through TikTok so many times and been watching people play fucking Mario Sunshine and Luigi's Mansion and shit like that. Like, games that came out, you know, 20-something years ago.
Mario 64 still makes a yearly comeback.
Well, yeah, no, because like, there's still people...
Year, somebody's playing a fucking Mario 64.
Yeah, playing Mario 64 and speedrunning it. You know what I mean? That's a huge thing. Wild. There's such a... Mario 64 is very, very big in the speedrunning community. It's the, like, one of the fucking games
it's not
in the
on the GameCube. It's not on the GameCube, but you know.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's the thing of Nintendo. Nintendo has made games.
Their games are always made to last years. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, like there's still people playing and enjoying OG Super Mario. You know what I mean? Or Donkey Kong, and shit.
And I mean that's one thing I'll always give Nintendo is their ability to make games just last. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they're
like the content's just good enough that it'll just carry on for years.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because so many people are worried about. So many people are worried about the console because, like, we're talking about consoles and the console war. They're so worried about the fucking thing that you play it on or whatever versus the actual game. It's like, well, yeah, no, I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this really expensive console that can fucking run so much.
You prefaced this to Anna that me and you were going to argue. I really don't have a problem with the consoles. I have a problem with the people who make the games for the consoles.
Yeah. Well, I just figured that like at some point we might, knowing us. We might. But
I mean, it depends on how vehemently you defend Nintendo.
I'm going to continuously but throughout this whole thing.
You have to know that Nintendo is not a part of the console war. Currently, not even close.
They're not a part of the war no more. They're sitting on the sideline. I get that, but I'm still going to throw them in there. I'm still going to throw them in there.
You can, but just know it's not close. The sales numbers are not close at all.
They're just there hanging out doing their own thing.
That's not right. That's not right. You want to know something? The first
Wii fucking
outsold both of them.
Yeah. The Wii
hasn't happened since.
The Wii sold very well. Fucking Wii U Sports was one of the highest selling games. I think still is
and
one of the highest selling games.
Super expensive.
Yeah. Wii Sports is fucking like an $80 game. Like depending on where you go, hundreds of dollars.
So we just covered the birth of the meat and potatoes of the console war, Sony versus Microsoft. Now let's get into the 7th generation of the video game console wars.
I don't feel like we talked about PlayStation and Xbox really that much. I think we just kind of got into
no, we kind of just talked about GameCube.
Yeah.
So PlayStation, at the time, actually, I started with the PlayStation 2, and I was a huge PlayStation 2 dude. Like, I loved playing all of the Grand Theft Autos. They were all very fun. Vice City, San Andreas was on PlayStation 2. I loved them. I even got into there's a game called Conker's Bad Fur Day that was actually Nintendo.
N64.
But yeah, it was the N64. On the PlayStation, I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto. I played a lot of like older Call of Duties on it. Played a lot of Jak and Daxter at the time. I do not remember any Jak and Daxter anymore.
See what's funny? My first interaction of Call of Duty was on the GameCube with Big Red One. Funny enough. Yep.
That's awesome.
Big Red One on the GameCube. Super great Call of Duty.
Cooper. I played so much Sly Cooper, dude. Oh, that's a great game.
But yeah. So my personal experience,
Ratchet and Clank, dude. Oh,
my personal experience with the PlayStation 2. We'll go to that, and then we'll go to the Xbox. I think I already said out of the two, out of the OG Xbox and the PlayStation 2, I think I played the PlayStation 2 way the fuck more. Way more. But I'll say there's things about the original Xbox, but I'll talk about PlayStation 2 first. Played the PlayStation 2 way fucking more. My dad can attest to this. I played Vice City, loved playing Vice City, played San Andreas, loved playing that. A big one
Vice City was better though.
Yeah, San Andreas had so much more.
Vice City a lot more.
Yeah, San Andreas had a lot of cool shit. I love the story, and you can
you can bulk your character up.
Yeah, you can work out and you can get fat.
Make him fat.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Make him super thin and shit. I think that was really cool.
But I will say one thing for Vice City, what I liked about it, I like more of that he had more of that mob boss, because his name was Tony.
That's why I enjoyed it. Yeah, that's why I enjoyed it so much. And the first dude you did missions for, his name was Luigi.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just sick.
Is that Italian mafia thing, and I prefer that more. I liked the vibe of it, that 70s vibe. The music was great on that fucking game.
Take these broken wings.
Dude,
I remember that being all over that game.
Because the one that I loved was Hear the Noise, Come On, Let's Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Come on, feel the noise.
Yeah, that song. I don't remember the song's name.
Girls, rock your boys.
Love that song.
Wild, wild, wild. That's Quiet Riot.
Quite right, yeah. And then Vice City started this whole thing with like Laszlo, the guy that was on the radio station and shit like that.
Yeah, dude.
So if you actually listen to the radio, so he had his own like little talk show. It was the 80s. It was the 80s. He had like his own little talk show.
It had that little like high neon 70s feel to it though.
Yeah.
Like even Tony's shirt had like a 70s feel to it. But it was definitely the 80s, but it had that 70s feel to it.
Yeah. But Laszlo, he like had his own like talk show on there, and he actually stretched all the way into GTA 5. Like they kept like he is a character in the GTA universe that's on the radio that they stretched all the way into later on. But then a big one for me too, like obviously you were talking about Jak and Daxter. I played the fuck out of 3 and the fuck out of X. I liked 1 and 2, but 3 was the best. It was so good with the light and dark ego.
I don't really remember any of it anymore.
But an X was really cool because like you're driving cars and shit like that and doing all that. But another Destroy All Humans 1 and 2.
Destroy All Humans was a wild time.
Love Destroy All Humans. Played so much of that. You had the Mortal Kombats on there, like Armageddon, Deception. Which honestly, I think I played a lot of those on
Mortal Kombat.
I think I played those actually on GameCube more than I played PlayStation 2. There was a GoldenEye Rogue Agent. Loved that game. Was on the PlayStation 2. Played the hell out of it. Splinter Cell, Metal Gear.
Well, tons of Metal Gear games.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there's just so many just really good games that were on the PlayStation games. 2.
Yeah, like going back to the PlayStation 1 and all that stuff, that's whenever you got Metal Gear.
Destroy All Humans, he still is obsessed with it.
Destroy All Humans,
he talks
is a great
about it.
game.
Like once a month he'll bring up Destroy All Humans.
Because I want to, they remastered the second one and I want to fucking play it so bad because that was the best one.
I have it on my console. You were talking about playing it.
Well, yeah, whenever I had my Xbox, I downloaded the remastered of the first one, and it was great seeing it remastered. But yeah, Rogue Agent, the GoldenEye game was super good. You had a lot of Metal Gear, Sons of Liberty was on there. That was great. Black, that's one that my dad and I really enjoyed playing. Black was a great game. Not great now to go back and play, but was really good at the time. You had the Gran Turismo games coming out.
Oh, dude. You know? If I miss one thing about racing games, it's their soundtracks, man.
Oh, yeah, you had Need for Speed coming out at that time. You had the ATV games. Those are great.
Yeah, dude. Oh, the PlayStation 2 had a game called Off-Road Fury, bro.
Yeah, Off-Road Fury.
That game was sick.
Off-Road Fury 2 was the best one.
Oh, man.
The music was good. They had Godsmack in there. Oh, yeah, the Jet Li game, my dad just said. The Jet Li game was fucking awesome.
Oh, speaking of Jet Set Radio was on PlayStation 2.
Jet Set Radio. You had another thing like the Jet Li game, the Max Payne games.
Max Payne.
You had Street of LA. I know that was also on Xbox, I think, too.
Streets of LA.
Streets of LA. Super great. The one there's the other one.
The Max Payne games tie into Alan Wake. Did you know that?
Yeah, which is weird. But
is it Max Payne or is it Streets of LA? I don't remember which one.
It's not. No, Max Payne goes into some other game.
Which one do you slow time?
Max Payne. Alan.
Then it's definitely Max Payne then.
Max Payne. I do know Max Payne is like loosely tied, I think, into Alan Wake or something like that. But like
you remember that game Control?
Yeah. Or is it Control that's connected?
The Alan Wake, Control, Max Payne.
Oh, they're just like loosely.
There's another game called Quantum Break.
Oh yeah.
Also, so basically, it's any Remedy Entertainment's game.
Oh, so Remedy is just like, hey, fuck it, they're all tied in somehow.
Yeah, they're all tied together. Barely. So when Control came out, it tied them all together.
Oh, okay.
Like every single one of them.
But yeah, no, the PlayStation 2 had a lot of great stuff with it. It was an awesome game. I mean, console. It was also a DVD player. You know what I mean? You can watch DVDs on it, which was sick. That was cool. And so now going over to the Xbox, the OG Xbox with the Duke controller.
The Duke.
I'll say, and so in the Xbox,
dude, they were gonna re-release it for the Xbox Series. They stopped doing it.
Stupid.
They were gonna re-release the Duke, man. They never did it.
You can get a keyboard and mouse that is based off of the Duke controller. Like it's see-through and green.
I absolutely love it when we name accessories like that.
Yeah, the Duke.
the Duke.
That's crazy. But yeah,
dude, and that controller, brother,
awesome.
That controller was fucking beefy.
It's huge, beefy ass controller. And so that going into it, you have the PlayStation with they released DualShock. You had analog sticks, the 2 analog sticks and everything, which are the worst placement of analog sticks ever. Putting them
absolute worst.
Having them down there is
it
so
doesn't
together.
make any sense.
It hurts my hand,
dude. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
This sucks.
That's so uncomfortable. Like just holding 2 thumbs like that, like my left hand like that, just fucking it hurts.
Yeah, it is awful.
But and like it wasn't comfortable. Like you can say, oh, it's what you're used to. It's like even whenever I played the PlayStation, the majority of the time, it fucking sucked. I hated it. I hated every aspect of it. Not until
the thing, I never owned an original Xbox. I do now.
Yeah, we did.
I don't. Well, I never had an original Xbox. It wasn't until my uncle at the time got a divorce. You know. Anyways, my uncle at the time had an Xbox, and we played all of Halo, and it was fun. You know what I mean? But I never owned an Xbox until I lived with my dad. My dad had an original Xbox, and again played a ton of Halo. But outside of that, that's all I ever experienced with an original Xbox was Halo.
Yeah. No, with me in the original Xbox, I'll in the controller thing. Yeah, that controller scheme is just absolutely terrible. I have an Xbox One controller up here, but like this, doing it like this, every fucking controller besides the PlayStation controller has this orientation. Why? Because it's the best. There you go. It's the best way to hold a controller. This just feels terrible.
Even Nintendo, who is notorious for having weird controllers, when you put those Joy-Cons together,
they're in that orientation.
They're in that orientation.
Because the thing is, you don't use the D-pad very often at all, besides to maybe switch through some like equipment or some shit like that. This to move and this like it just because that literally hurts. Like I have to force my hand to sit like that, and it just overlaps but the main thing is, we were talking about the how big the Duke was. The Duke was huge, and it fit in your hand. It filled out your hands. You know what I mean? And even if you had smaller hands, it still worked. Like I don't have huge hands, but I don't have small hands, and so like it just fit. And then the PlayStation controller, I just felt like it was so dinky, and I felt like I could break it in half because like it was a super long and thin in the middle.
But you can. Yeah, you can at the time, especially the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2,
especially PlayStation 3,
1. All the way up to PlayStation 3. Those controllers were fucking flimsy, bro.
I think even the 4 too.
You can go fucking get one and break it in half right now.
Yeah, not until the 5 that they start thickening that damn thing up, and even then, it's still small.
I think when they introduced that little touchpad, and I think it was 4 that had the touchpad. I think that it had a little more durability to it because they had to, right? But PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, bro, those controllers you could absolutely just snap in half.
And it was still, even though like it was maybe a little bit thicker, it was still like super light. And I don't like, and like I know you want a light thing, but no, I don't. I feel like knowing I'm holding it. You know what I mean?
No way. Can you really?
You can get an OG Xbox controller for the new Xbox X. That'd be fucking sick. It'd be super sick.
I thought they stopped making it because I never saw anything.
Maybe it just went under the radar. But yeah, like the OG Xbox controller, like it fit well in the hand. It was nice and thick. You had the black and white button there on the side, which was like your weird menu buttons and shit. I don't know what exactly it did. No
way!
Can you?
The Hyperkin Duke wired controller Y Xbox Series X. Brother. They released it with the 20. Oh.
How much is it though?
$60.
I mean,
like
it's
any
about,
other controller.
Yeah, it's about as any other controller.
Any other controller you buy for an Xbox right now is going to be about $60, yeah. I mean, unless you buy a Pro controller. Pro controllers are very expensive.
I like my women like I like my Xbox controllers.
Yes, sir.
But like with the Xbox, so like you said, to contrast like you not really growing up, but we did grow up with the Xbox in the house, and I played.
I'm so giddy about this controller right now, dude.
It's a good time. I definitely played Halo on it. Played the OG Halo. Just went through the campaign on it. Played it online, like not online, but with my dad or with like cousins or whatever. I think a lot of the other Xbox games that I remember, my dad and I played the James Bond game. I forget which James Bond game it was, and he's still in chat, so you can let me know which James Bond game it was. But we played a James Bond game together against that. It had like the golden gun, and it was super sick.
Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. They have it in Xbox Green.
Hell yeah. That's the only way you should get it, is the green.
Brother.
Is it see-through?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be sick to get. But yeah, we used to play...
dude, I want one so bad now.
We used to play that together. That was another thing about the N64. You had GoldenEye. That was another huge game. Like that really pushed multiplayer shooters, like first-person shooters and shit. But then there was this game, the Fight Night, the boxing like Fight Night game. Super great game. What else was on the OG Xbox?
Yeah, but on the PlayStation, you have Def Jam games.
Yeah, Def Jam was good. You had NBA Street Volume 2, which I think was on both consoles, but I played it on the PlayStation.
And NFL Street was too.
But I played it on the PlayStation, though, the most. But yeah, NBA Street Volume 2, the best. Volume 1, whatever. Volume 3, Volume 2. Volume 2 was fucking awesome.
Incredible.
So the Xbox, I mean, it gave us Halo, and I think the Xbox is what really pushed on the online shooter and everything, you know what I mean? And it just, that era of content was just such a beautiful time. It's when rock was cool, you know what I mean? You had fucking Breaking Benjamin and the in Halo. And
here's the thing though, dude, because like we also like the PlayStation, I think the PlayStation just did so much better for so many reasons. Need for Speed was huge at the time.
Underground.
And the Tony Hawk games were huge at the time. You know what I mean? PlayStation just did so well. And this is why PlayStation 2 is still the number one sold consoles, because it was the golden age, man.
PlayStation, so around that time too, like what we were just talking about, like with the GameCube, the PlayStation was doing what the what the GameCube was doing, just with stronger hardware. You know what I mean? Those two consoles were pushing out, and so the Xbox at the time, it gave us Halo. Let's just be fair, it gave us Halo.
Yeah,
and like I'll give it to PlayStation, even though I prefer the Xbox. I'll give it to the PlayStation because the PlayStation gave us the Pro Skater games. It gave us,
but even not just the Pro Skater games. It gave us Tony Hawk's Underground 2, American Wasteland.
It gave us God of War.
God of War 1 and 2, I think, was also on the...
It gave us a lot of games, you know what I mean? It pushed out a lot of big titles.
Final Fantasy was still kicking out games.
So Underground wasn't on the Xbox at all? Like Need for Speed?
I don't remember. I really don't.
Because I want to talk about games that were like primarily on that and that was like big and everything.
Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2, I played on the PlayStation. So
because like I don't want to sit there and give it to them when Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX was great. I don't think I ever played that one.
I never got into a BMX game.
But because I don't want to sit there and say that if like they were like if Need for Speed was also on the Xbox, like Underground.
PlayStation 2 exclusives.
Because then you can't really argue it. You know what I mean? Because then at that point it just kind of comes down to, well, you can't argue what I'm arguing at the moment. Because like I was saying, like everything that came out on the, like literally 90% of everything that came out on the GameCube was only on the GameCube. You couldn't get it anywhere else.
Oh, Armored Core. Armored Core is
a good game.
Armored Core was only on PlayStation 2.
But what were those Need for Speed games only on?
I'm getting there. Hold on.
But yeah, like I was saying though, like PlayStation 2 was doing what the GameCube was doing. It was putting out a bunch of games that really defined people's childhoods and like really were like big consoles in their childhood.
No, the Need for Speed games were on. Yeah, they were on Xbox.
Okay, so at that point, can't really argue like exclusivity, but like it did give us big.
They might not be on Xbox, but they definitely, I think, because it's not on this list here, they could have been on Nintendo.
Yeah, they could have been on GameCube too. But I'd say like a lot of GameCube just gave us big games that really.
Yeah, so dude, PlayStation 2 had Sly 2, Sly 3,
Sly Cooper. I played a little bit of Sly Cooper. I wasn't a.
They had Smash Court Tennis, dude.
Hot Shot Golf. That was one that was on there.
Hot Shot Golf is crazy.
Mother Trucker or whatever that game was. You remember that game?
Yeah.
But like I was saying, like
the Underworld game.
The PlayStation was giving us a lot of those like big.
I forgot about Ultraman. I forgot about those games.
I think this game was only on Xbox, but like Xbox had a game where you play as a zombie, and you can like take over other people and shit like that. I think it's called like Gibbs or something like that, and you can like.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you played as a zombie, and you can like take your head off and roll it as a bowling ball, and like knock people down and kill them, or take your hand and put it on a human or something like that, control them, and shit. But yeah, I think the PlayStation.
Oh, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duelists of the Roses was on PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of those were on.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Hakusho Dark Tournament was on PlayStation 2.
Budokai. I think a lot of those Budokai games I played on PlayStation.
A lot of Budokai, yeah.
I think it was just like a lot. Like some of those games were on the Xbox, but a majority of people played them on
Xenosaga.
Played them on PlayStation. I mean, yeah, because like Need for Speed. When you hear people talk about Need for Speed, I think a lot of people forget that it was on Xbox, like we just discovered. Just a lot of people played it on the PlayStation, you know. And so I don't know why that was. You know what I mean? I don't know why everybody, like, whenever you could play it on this, but you played on that. I don't know. You know, especially with like controller differences and shit. But what was I saying? And then like PlayStation 2 started coming out with those variants. You know, you had like the Slim when the Slim came out.
Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero. Well, yeah, was that only on PlayStation?
Guitar Hero, the original, and Guitar Hero Encore were only on PlayStation 2.
What about 2 and 3? I think it was 3 was the only one I really fucked with because they had fucking great songs on there. They had like a Metallica song, had Slipknot on there, had Killswitch Engage. I think it was Legends of the Rock. Was that 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was the best Guitar Hero. But also, even if it was on Xbox, I played it on PlayStation. So, but I would say a thing that was really big about Xbox, though, and my dad, if he's still in the chat, we would put our music on it. I think that was like a thing that was super big for me, or big at the time for me.
Yeah, so the original Guitar Hero was designed for the PlayStation 2.
I played Legends of the Rock on PlayStation 2, so I don't know if that one was. But being able to download, because I don't know, did the original Xbox be able to play movies? I know you can download music. I don't know if you can watch movies on it. I know you could watch movies on.
So Xbox, everything else didn't get a Guitar Hero until Guitar Hero 2. But every Guitar Hero subsequently after 1 was released on every platform.
On Xbox? Okay. Yeah, but I only played it on PlayStation. And everybody else's house I ever went to played it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know, the original Xbox at the time, it wasn't crazy, you know.
No, just music. Yeah, that's what I thought. But like downloading the music on an Xbox was so fun. Like because my dad can attest to it. I listened to music so fucking much on that Xbox, dude.
One of the biggest draws to the original Xbox was the Microsoft Multimedia Player.
Yeah. And
it was just basically taking any CDs that your parents had and putting it in, and
1000%. I used to put
it on the console.
My dad will tell you, we put so much fucking music on those Xboxes, like the original, and then into the Xbox 360. Because I remember one day like putting like the OG Xbox. I think All Hope Is Gone came out. Like so, this is like 2008 or something like that. It Slipknot album, and I immediately put it on the Xbox and burnt it on there. It's a wrong album.
I don't listen to Slipknot.
That's like volume 3, the Subliminal Verses.
All right, so 7th generation of video game consoles: the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3.
And wasn't the Wii came out too? So I'll have to put my thing in there for the Wii.
Yeah. So it was the Wii. Yeah.
Because the Wii came out in 2011.
So specifically, they ultimately they stopped adding Nintendo into the war because Nintendo was doing their own thing. You know what I mean? They were doing their own experiment.
I'll say this. The Nintendo may not have been in the war.
Revolutionary, though.
Very revolutionary, but they influenced
I'll get into it.
a lot.
I'll get into it in just a second. So the 360 05 and the PlayStation 3 in 06. The Xbox didn't sell as well again.
The 360?
Now, but this is, the 360 did not sell as well. And I'll get into it in just a second. But this is when you get James to be an Xbox stan. I fucking loved the Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah.
I got an Xbox 360 and I never looked back. I loved the controller, the games that were available. I loved
the home screen.
Online, the home screen.
Having like your avatar and like swapping like, well, even like in the first iteration of the 360 before you had your physical like dude, you just had like the pages that you swap through and shit like that. But you got your little icon and everything. All those OG icons were sick as fuck.
So cool, dude. Nah, dude, I love the 360. I still love the 360. I'll go back and play some 360 games every now and again, bro, and they're still so fun. Battle Block Theater, I played the hell out of Battle
Dead
Block
Rising.
Theater. Dead Rising, played the hell out of that. Played the shit out of Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead.
Played the shit out of the first Gears game and the second Gears game.
ODST.
And then the third Gears game. Played every single Halo game that was released. I loved the 360 so much. But the 360 had not as much stuff as the PlayStation did. This is when PlayStation made the move to Blu-ray.
Well, like I was going to say
so
that.
The PlayStation moved to HD DVDs, which were Blu-rays, which just made the games run a lot smoother, a lot faster. Loading screens were not nearly as bad. But the 360 had another thing that was making them lose sales. The Red Ring of Death.
I think
and
I don't
brother. I'm gonna tell you, it was a tough day.
I don't know if our Xbox, our home 360 ever got the Red Ring of Death.
You don't know real pain until you take apart a 360 to put pennies where your heatsink should go to try to get it to revive itself.
Yeah, I can't remember if ours ever got it. But yeah, no, that was definitely a huge problem with it.
Yeah,
I think with the PS3 problem was the fucking fans getting hot.
The Xbox 360 suffered from the Red Ring of Death, a hardware fault on a large fraction of retail models that cost Microsoft over $1.1 billion with a B dollars in repairs for their consoles over the 360's entire lifetime.
My dad said that never did. So yeah, our Xbox never
did.
Got
so it was a huge problem with the original Xbox 360. Huge problem with the original Xbox 360.
Yeah, no, we knew about it. We just never got it.
It became much less of an issue when they released the Slims. The Slims really just kind of fixed that whole situation. The Slim came, well, it was
black
smaller,
one.
First of all. Yeah, I had the black Slim. I think I still have the black
I think they only came out in black, didn't they? The Slims?
There was a white one.
There
was a white one later, but yeah. But anyways, the Slim was good. The Slim ran a lot better. They had Blu-ray capabilities. I'm pretty sure after that.
I don't think they did.
I don't remember.
Probably I think only the PlayStation 3 did.
Yeah, you're probably right. But anyways, the Xbox 360 didn't do as well, but I still loved it. You know what I mean? Even through the Red Ring, even through not having Blu-ray, I loved every bit of it.
I think
it's still one of my favorite consoles. And then you get into, they start talking about the Wii here. Now the Wii outsold every console during this time period. Now the PlayStation 2, of course, is still the #1 selling console of all time, but the Wii during this PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era sold way more units. The Wii comparably sold over 101 million compared to the PlayStation 3's 87 million and the Xbox 360's 84 million. Now you can kind of see where the war is heating up here. The sales are not as different anymore. Xbox sitting at 84
They're catching up.
and the PlayStation sitting at 87 million.
Yeah.
But the Wii, because they got experimental and they introduced a whole thing that the Xbox and the PlayStation both took into account and did themselves.
After
motion sensing
motion
sensing devices. So with the Wii coming out with their Wiimote and their motion sensor bar, the Xbox decided to release the Kinect, and the PlayStation released PlayStation Move,
which was dog shit.
Both of them are fucking bad.
I'll say the Kinect was better than Move.
The Kinect was better. The Kinect was definitely better because the Kinect really could detect motion very well. The PlayStation Moved sucked.
I'll say, like, hardware wise, the Kinect was very good. They just didn't implement it very well into a bunch of shit.
Yeah, no.
Like, you had Just Dance, you had like a couple other games, and
they had because they also redid Dead Rising to implement the Kinect, and they did a few games where like they added Kinect. Yeah, they added Kinect capabilities, right? But it wasn't what we know as VR today, right? But that's ultimately what they were trying to get to, was like a VR thing. But it was not, we were not technologically ready to do all of that. But I mean, for all in all, at the time, the Kinect was awesome. You know, it was cool. It operated as a mic. It operated as a camera. It operated as, a motion detecting device. It was sick. I mean, the Wii had the motion sensing bar because that was the whole console, basically, was the motion sensing shit. But the PlayStation
they only had
Move,
that bar, that little bar that you plugged in. That was it. That was all. Which actually technically, and so all it was infrared sensors at the left and right thing.
Yeah.
Which literally, if you like, for people out there that have a Wii and your bar's broken, take two little candles, those tiny little like whatever candles they're called, put them in front and like spread them apart like that far or whatever, it'll work. Legitimately, all it is infrared, so you can just take the candles and still be able to select shit.
By that measure, I think the Kinect was even better than the Wii's motion. But the PlayStation Move sucked. It was just bad. PlayStation tried recreating the Wii controller with that weird little fucking ball at the end.
Yeah,
it was so weird. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I also never owned. I owned a PlayStation 3.
Plug.
Yeah, genuinely. I only owned a PlayStation 3 for a short amount of time. Didn't really like it. I only ever played Call of Duty on it. Never played any of their exclusives, which I do regret heavily to this day because there were some good exclusives on the PlayStation 3.
Uncharted?
Uncharted had just launched out, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. Like, Uncharted just came out?
Yeah, Uncharted just came out relatively.
In what? Maybe God of War 3?
God of War 3, yeah.
I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. Like, in this period with the 360 and the PS3 and the Wii, I'll hold off on Wii for a second because obviously I have my whole thing with that. But the Xbox 360 is what the PS2 did and what the GameCube did. The 360 just started putting out these games that just were weakest. PS3 is the weakest Sony console. 100% the weakest Sony console, for fucking sure. Because it had its own issues too. That was an era.
Big Planet.
Little Big Planet.
Big Planet, which was I thought it was a very fun game.
That era.
I played it much later, but
of like Wii 360 and PS3 was just the era of like the console death, a console plague. You know, things that were just like killing people's consoles, like the Red Ring of Death.
The Last of Us, the first time was released on PlayStation 3.
Yeah, I guess so. And the PlayStation 3 definitely, it got really hot and it sounded like a jet engine turning on every time you boot that fucker up.
Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the
Patriot.
Yeah, Guns of the Patriot was on there. Gran Turismo 5. Demon's Souls was released on PlayStation 3.
Like the PlayStation 3 had some stuff, but I think the Xbox, just like what I was talking about, like with like Guitar Hero, I would always go to somebody's house and they'd be playing Guitar Hero on a PlayStation versus an Xbox 360. And the 360, every time I went anywhere, everybody was playing Call of Duty. So because you had Modern Warfare 2 at the time, which was on both consoles, but a lot of people that I knew were playing it on the Xbox.
Well, during that time, PlayStation had also gotten hacked.
Yeah, PlayStation got, because I think around that time too, somebody hacked PlayStation and put on a fishing commercial, and it was just nothing but fishing.
Their live service at the time was free.
Yeah,
you know, which meant that it was like pretty open source, which means that people can hack it pretty easily.
Somebody learned a very valuable lesson at the moment, because I remember when that happened, because I was laughing my ass off.
They did. And my buddy Daniel, he's a PlayStation guy. He refuses to even think about owning an Xbox. But he the number one thing I always said when I actually cared about like Xbox or PlayStation, I was always like, yeah, but Xbox never got hacked. You know, been hacked like 4 or 5 times, you know.
But
which Xbox did get hacked like twice, I think, but it wasn't anything crazy.
But Xbox, like I said, you got people. Like I said, you have ODST, because like, I mean, yeah, you had the other Halos. You had 3, because I mean, ODST is expansion of 3. But you had Reach, so games that you know Sony will never have. Was Left 4 Dead on PlayStation?
I think it was on PlayStation 2. I'd have to look it up.
Left 4 Dead?
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead wasn't on PlayStation 2.
I don't think it. Well, I mean, either way, if it's on a PlayStation. It wasn't on PlayStation 2. It was on 360. If it was on PlayStation at all, it'd been on a PlayStation 2.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I was like, it would have been on the PlayStation 3. But you had people playing Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead was a huge game, still a fucking huge game. Like what we talked about earlier, people are still pushing to have Left 4 Dead put back on the Game Pass, Xbox.
No, Left 4 Dead was a PC and Xbox only.
Yeah, the Microsoft thing, like, well, because it's Valve, so yeah. Well, I should have put that together. It's Valve, so of course it's probably only on Microsoft and.
I should have too, because I don't think PlayStation has Portal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think they do too.
I don't think they have Portal or Team Fortress or Half-Life. I don't think so.
I think everything. Yeah, Valve is very much just like, we only put shit on Microsoft. But yeah, and you know, you have that, and was Counter-Strike? I don't even think Counter-Strike was on PlayStation.
Counter-Strike is not on a console at all.
Yeah, it did. CS:GO, CS Source, I think had a console port.
I'll look it up, but I don't think that's right.
Yeah, Counter-Strike. It was Counter-Strike Source, I think. It had a console port.
Okay, so Counter-Strike was the only Counter-Strike to touch a console, and it was on the original Xbox.
It was on the original Xbox? Okay, I can't remember if it had like 360 version of it or not.
Yeah, it's just called Counter-Strike Xbox Edition, and it was the only one to release in 2003.
Oh, okay. But CS was on 360. Maybe they took just the original CS and put it over there.
No, CS:GO was on 360, but it's no longer available.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought CS:GO was on there, but yeah, you got CS:GO. You have.
It was only $15. It was $15.
Probably. Let me see that. But yeah, everybody was playing Modern Warfare on an Xbox that I knew. So many people swapped over to Xbox 360.
So the live service was just better.
Yeah,
in every way.
So people are like, oh, well, what about the exclusives on on PlayStation? It's like, I don't give a fuck. Look at Xbox Live is better.
I'm a teenager at this point, right? For the 360 PlayStation 2, right? PlayStation 3, whatever. I was a teenager at this time, and all I really cared about was playing online.
Yeah,
you know. So like, if the service was better, $10 at the time. $10 to pay for gold was not that wild.
Oh yeah, gold.
Actually, it might have even been $5. I don't remember. But
you get
it was cheap. It was cheap a month, and it was just better than PlayStation's. It was more stable.
You'd get a bunch of games that would come with a month card or whatever, or week card.
What did you? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I got games that came with cards.
But I know Xbox actually started doing the games with gold thing. So if you had gold, you just got 2 free games a month.
Yeah. And then
PlayStation started doing that.
And that'll spawn into Game Pass when we start talking about
it. So Xbox had their Game Pass. PlayStation started doing that.
Yeah, I think Game Pass came later, didn't it, though?
No.
Right? How long has Game Pass been out?
Since early Xbox One.
Oh, okay. So it did come later. So I was right. It came later. Let's talk about like
yeah, it did come later as far as on the Xbox, yeah. But the PSN came out after the Game Pass is what I was getting at.
But yeah, so the 360, it just had games that
Armed and Dangerous on the Xbox was a fun game, hilarious.
Oh yeah,
I don't
Kane and Lynch, Armed and Dangerous. Yeah, I remember that. But Kane and Lynch, it was out.
Kane and Lynch was huge.
Fucking
Kane and Lynch was such a good
Fallout,
game.
Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas.
Those were on PlayStation.
Those were on PlayStation, but I always saw people playing it on Xbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like there was games that, like I was saying, that came out on both consoles, but you always saw people playing it on a certain console.
Fair enough.
And I remember
Xbox and PlayStation magazines. I'd buy them too.
Yep, we'd always buy a demo disc the time, dude.
Yeah, dude. I actually forgot they did that, but yeah, dude, the demo discs were huge.
I played so many. I played Time Splitter demo. I would play it over and over and over.
Time Splitters, bro.
Yeah,
whoa,
it's a good game.
That's still such a good game, man.
I played like the Superman game, like on there too. Like that was on the 360. It wasn't bad. I hate Superman, but it was a fun little game.
360 had Prototype. You remember
Prototype, bro?
Prototype was a good game, bro.
That was that only on 360?
I don't know, but I played it on the 360.
Yeah, so did I. Prototype was fucking good. The first one, not the second one. The second one was kind of shit.
The second one was okay.
But yeah, like Kane and Lynch. I know my dad would like that one. Army of Two. Army of Two was on there?
Army 2 was on Xbox.
Yep. I think that was exclusive, right? No, Army of 2 was on PlayStation.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember Army of 2 being on PlayStation as well.
Yeah, Prototype was on PS3.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just like I said, there's games that came out on both, but the Xbox that's what people played it on. The Xbox was just a cooler console.
There's a lot of games that just outperformed on Xbox that PlayStation couldn't keep up with. They were almost like Xbox exclusives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you had like Left 4 Dead and you had Halo and shit. Well, because that's my thing too. Yeah. Even though like Xbox doesn't have as many exclusive, I feel like Halo still outperformed the majority of every PlayStation.
I mean, and so with every exclusive that PlayStation had, a lot of them are just single player. You know what I mean? And I think the draw for teenagers at the time was hanging out with your buds playing video games.
Yeah, get on Xbox Live.
And everybody who was interested in playing video games as a teenager didn't want to just sit and watch your boy play a video game. You wanted to play a video game with your boy. You know what I mean? So you grab an Xbox and you play Gears of War. Grab an Xbox, you play Halo. You know what I mean? But at the time, like PlayStation had God of War or Last of Us or Uncharted, all 3 single player games.
And Uncharted is just fucking Lara Croft with a dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just Tomb Raider, but a guy.
That's it. It's just a different Tomb Raider game with a different character.
If you like Uncharted, you're gonna like Lara Croft. You know what I mean? You're gonna like Tomb Raider games. And guess what? The Tomb Raider games are on Xbox.
Yeah. I don't know. So
it's just wild to me.
The 360.
This is the point where I adamantly was an Xbox guy.
Yeah.
I was like, PlayStation sucks, but I will never own a PlayStation. Fuck a PlayStation. These consoles are ass. Right?
Yeah.
And I was all in on Xbox. And then we lead into the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 time.
Well, so I want to finish a couple things on the 360 for a second because it was and I didn't really talk about the Wii for a minute. Well, we didn't talk about the Wii. But yeah,
fuck your Wii. The console sucked.
No, it didn't. The 360...
It was awful.
We now gained the ability to watch movies on it, which was an awesome thing. You still could download music with the Windows player.
Well, the 360 did have Blu-ray.
I don't think it did.
It did because there was an app you had to install called the Blu-ray player.
I don't remember ever having Blu-ray on it. I don't think it came out until the one that it had Blu-ray.
I mean, I could be thinking of who cares? Fuck a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the one that had Blu-ray. But you got to watch movies on it, which was good. But you still got the music, but the music, whenever you play it, you can play it music while you played games, which was awesome. You know what I mean? If you're somebody that's into that, and I did play. I remember I would play World at War.
Shadow of the Colossus. PlayStation is a good one.
I would play World at War, Call of Duty, and I would play the 1X album, the 3 Days Grace album, while I played World at War, and it was awesome. It was such a great time. Huge, great time. I would play My Chemical Romance while I played other games too. But with the Wii, what you said too, the Wii, they may not be in the war, but they're influencing the battle. You know what I mean? Because like they came out with the motion controls, and now so does Xbox and PlayStation, and they flop with it. But the Wii, it was once again a console that got the whole family involved. You know what I mean? You had the family games. Hell, my grandma, my dad's mother, she lost a whole bunch of weight playing the Wii. She did like the Wii Fit balance board. She played all the games on there. She ate right and everything like that too. But she used it to get active and do things.
Get fucked. Who cares? The Wii fucking sucked, dude.
No, it didn't.
I hated the Wii.
Why?
The Wii it just wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't find it very fun. It's just.
I thought it was great. I didn't have like a super.
I thought it was more annoying than anything. Like all of this extra bullshit that they wanted me to do all the time. I was just like, just give me 2 analog sticks. It's not that hard to fuck up. And
they gave us a pro controller that you can do that with and play certain games like that.
Yeah. How much longer did it take for them to release that?
Not much longer. They just put, because the main focus was the motion.
The Wii pro controller.
Yeah. It was like a little, kind of like this size, basically. The size of this fucking remote, and it had analog sticks, buttons, and everything else like that into it, and you just play. Hell, I would play Wii Sports while you kids were in school. Yeah, Wii Sports was fucking awesome. Do you play that? Play bowling? About to go no brain, any clue when y'all... About to go no brain, any clue when y'all be on tonight? Probably after we're done with the show, for sure.
Yeah, probably. If I had to guess.
So I don't know. I knew this one's gonna last a little bit longer, so maybe another hour, half hour.
It took them 3.5 years to release the Pro Controller, Ryan.
Oh, well, whatever.
It took
Still
them,
a Pro Controller.
It took them 3.5 years, Ryan.
Well, maybe you should stop being a lazy fuck and just get around and wiggle your fucking arm around.
Shit, dude. Just give me a fucking controller. It's not that hard to fucking do.
It's not that hard to get off your ass and wiggle your thing around. Play some Wii Sports.
I don't want to. I'm a grown man with free will. Okay?
Not at the time. You weren't a grown man.
I was pretty grown. I was like 6 foot.
All because you're tall don't mean you're grown.
Watch 7-7 and play Wii Sports. Simple Times.
Very good time.
What's 7-7?
Porn.
I'll wait.
But no, the Wii was good.
3 years, dude.
Minus
3 years to release an actual controller is crazy.
Minus Skyward Sword. There was definitely some bad games that came out on that console.
Wasn't Skyward Sword on? It was on the Wii, wasn't it?
Yep.
I thought it was on the Wii U.
No, because the Wii U got rid of the motion controls. It had like minor things. 7 days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Watch
7 days. I remember you watching that fucking show. I can't remember the show. It was what fucking show was that? My phone hates me.
My phone hates me. I guarantee you, when I take my phone down after using it for a camera for these hours that we're doing this, it's gonna be hotter than sin.
Yeah, I remember.
Looks like a Stargate show.
Yeah, kinda. I remember him watching this fucking show. It was kind of something like that, wasn't it? Wasn't it like this like future type show? I remember. I think it was a British television show.
It definitely gives me Stargate Atlantis,
because it was
Stargate
like
SG-1 vibes.
I can't necessarily remember, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like a almost what fucking like Doctor Who Primeval type stuff. I do remember him watching Primeval, which was along the same lines of yeah, because I remember they went to like this little ball. I know you guys can't see what we're talking about. CIA time travel. Yeah, I remember. You guys can't see what I'm looking at, but I'm looking. Oh, maybe do I put it over here? Yeah, I'm looking. This is what I. Oh no, I guess it won't. Yeah, I remember you watching this show. It was like this British CIA time travel, like you said.
CIA time travel sounds so stupid.
Hey man, it was the early 2000s. It was a wild time.
Heard that.
Same thing with watching My Family. You want a good British television show? My Family, fucking hilarious.
You want a good British television show? Watch fucking Downton Abbey.
No,
that's CIA time travel right there, baby.
Or watch My Family or Spaced.
Anyways,
Spaced has Simon Pegg in it. It's fucking great.
I'll fucking Simon Pegg you.
I'll peg Simon. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. Yeah. Let me move on.
So, 8th generation of the video game console wars. Xbox One versus PlayStation 4. You want to know the numbers?
Yeah, let's hit with the numbers first.
We'll start with the numbers first. PlayStation 4, 117 million units. Give me a ballpark number you think the Xbox sold.
About the same?
Give me a ballpark number.
Oh,
117 million for the PlayStation.
I'd say 100 million.
100 million?
I think maybe the PS4 maybe did a little bit over it. I'll give them that.
52 million.
Really? They're like half of fucking their sales?
Less than. Just a little bit less than. Yep,
Wild.
PlayStation 4 outsold the Xbox One by a big margin. Yep, they had a few issues with the Xbox One on release because they wanted the always connected, which means that your console would always be connected to the internet to give you accessibility features and the shit like that. A lot of people thought that this was an invasion of privacy and shit, so they got rid of it.
Yeah, so did the fucking Kinect having a camera connected to your console, but yet nobody bitched about that.
This is what it was. Microsoft had to pull many of these features. Okay, hold on. Where are the features? When these features were first promoted to achieve this, Xbox One was to be shipped with Kinect and was to use an always-on internet connection to enable numerous features, such as the ability to share games with other family members. However, when these features were first promoted, there was a heavy backlash from journalists and consumers considering these unnecessary privacy-invading features. Microsoft had to pull many of these features from the Xbox One before launch, such as eliminating the always connected requirement and need to use Kinect. So Sony took the opportunity in their PlayStation 4 marketing to play off Microsoft's missteps, such as demonstrating the simplicity of game sharing by simply passing along the physical media to another person, as well as its lower price point. While Microsoft was able to course correct to the Xbox One after launch, Sony had gained enough ground with the capabilities of the PlayStation 4, along with the strong library of console-exclusive titles, and the PlayStation 4 outsold the Xbox One 117 million units to 52 million units. The Xbox One was ultimately the more expensive of the two. However, both console prices were high when compared to the historical console market, setting a trend for ever more expensive consoles. So, Xbox fucked up like pretty bad, which is why they didn't sell many Xbox Ones at the start. I know that they did eventually kind of even out that number when they released the Xbox One X and S. But Sony still, they still outperformed them with the Pro release.
Oh yeah, because the Pro went up to 4K and all that shit.
Yeah, we didn't get 4K until the series.
Yeah, when it came to the Xbox One, speaking on a console level, and I mean not that stuff. I will say for me, in my experience with the Xbox One, I was still playing games. You know what I mean? Like I still am now. But I guess I especially around that time, I was out skating a lot, like skateboarding and shit, more than anything.
Yeah, for me, I was only playing Smite. Genuinely, that was the only game I ever played. So
yeah, I think I played. I stopped because what on the Xbox One, whenever it first came out, what Call of Duty was out at that time? Advanced Warfare.
I think so.
Yeah, so I really didn't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, it was either Advanced or Infinite Warfare. I don't remember which.
So two very shitty Call of Duties. So I didn't really care about that. I don't think there was really. I don't really think there was fuck all that I played on the Xbox because like I was out playing. I think I played nope because
the Xbox.
I was going to say something that we didn't talk about with the 360 Minecraft. We didn't talk about Minecraft was a fucking obviously phenomenon and stuff like that. But I think
Minecraft finally hit consoles with the 360 and the PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
but I mean it wasn't Minecraft for PC.
Yeah,
they called it the
Java edition or whatever.
Microsoft at the time it was the Microsoft edition.
Yeah. But
which was bare bones Minecraft.
Yeah,
absolutely bare bones. It was just a sandbox crafting game, really. There wasn't too much to it. There was really no objectives at all. I don't even think I think the Nether portal was in the game, but the end portal definitely. There was hardly any like walking creatures that you see in the game now.
Like mobs and stuff like that.
There were wolves, right? And their typical like mobs.
Remember.
Like when the zombie, the creature, you had all that, spiders. But like as far as like, because now if you play Minecraft, you get like turtles, you get
there's a lot of shit in Minecraft
there's
now.
A lot of shit in Minecraft now. But back then, it was literally just bare bones Minecraft. There was not a whole lot to do.
When it came to Minecraft, when Minecraft first came out, I didn't give two fucks or shit about it. Even now,
I got excited for it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I got very excited. It was only $15.
When Minecraft now, I still don't play it. But I like if the group was like, hey, because I know we've talked about it. I know Garrett's talked about it a little bit too. If we were to all be like, hey, let's start a Minecraft server. Let's start a realm or whatever. I would do it.
Yeah, I would.
I'd be excited about it.
I would start. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would start a realm before I cared about starting a server with everybody.
Yeah, like a world or whatever. But yeah, let's do a realm, and then all of us do it and get into it whenever we want and just play on it and shit. Yeah, I would do it. It sounds fun. It sounds super fun.
Yeah.
But whenever it first came out, I just didn't really give a shit. I know Dylan and I, we played it a lot. We just played creative and just fucked off and built stupid shit or whatever.
When you say stupid shit, you built a bunch of cock and balls everywhere.
Probably. That's what we did playing. I mean, that's something we didn't talk about too. Black Ops, and when it came out on the 360, played so much Black Ops when it came out. Zombies, World at War, whenever that came out. And
yeah, but this isn't really about video games.
I know. I was just saying the video games that like kind of came around that time and those consoles and shit. But yeah, with the Xbox One, it just not until Fallout 4, I think.
Fallout 4 was one of the big titles that came out. I mean, Skyrim was on the 360, and then they re-released it on the Xbox One. I could be wrong about that. But
yeah,
they
did.
I think I'm right.
Because I think, they re-released it on the one. Because that was its first remaster.
Well,
it's first or second.
I know Oblivion was on the 360, and I think it released with the 360, but I don't know if...
Yeah, that was the one I never played. I had a girlfriend at the time growing up that was like really into Oblivion, and she was talking about it, and I was like, I don't know shit about it, Chief.
Yeah, so Skyrim did release on the 360.
Because I was playing 3 in New Vegas.
They re-released it for the 1, and then they released the special edition for the 1, and then they released it for the series, and had the anniversary edition. So
talk about Skyrim or
Skyrim, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, because Oblivion just got remastered.
It's like because a lot of people dog on Last of Us for doing it, but what we fail to realize is that Skyrim's done it. Skyrim did the same fucking thing.
Well, I think like Skyrim's gotten its shit, but I think like what the PlayStation people are bitching about is like
Last of Us gets. My biggest problem
you have
with
so many
Last
other
of Us
games.
re-releases. My biggest problem with the Last of Us re-releases is it keeps getting Game of the fucking Year. Yeah. Every time they re-release it, and it's so fucking stupid to me.
Because like with PlayStation, with 4, since we're talking about it, Bloodborne, it's like that's what people want. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not a PlayStation guy, but Bloodborne was sick. I played a little bit of it, and
Bloodborne is sick. And I can tell you right now, when I get my PlayStation 5 in the next week, I'm gonna be buying that.
Yeah. No, like Bloodborne should be the game getting a re-release, if anything. I don't know why you keep re-releasing fucking Last of Us.
They'll never fucking do it.
Like we got the re-releases. If we want to come and play it again, like we'll go play it again. And we got a fucking TV show. Never mind the problems that we all have with the TV show and casting and whatever. But like, listen to your community, gaming consoles. Listen to your fucking community. But yeah, no, the Xbox One, it just.
There's not much to report. The Xbox One had dog shit games. I mean, Gears of War 4, I think, was on the Xbox One. and then maybe 5 later, but I don't remember.
Halo,
which were just I didn't like it. Halo 5, Halo 4, and Halo 5. Not great games.
Was 4 on 1, or was that on 3? Did it end with 3? Well, ODST and Reach on the 360.
Yeah, so 4 and 5 came out with the 1. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no,
that was 343 taking over.
Oh yeah, Bungie.
Yeah, but no, Gears of War, trash.
Well, in 360, hold on, 360 had Titanfall 2. Titanfall, right? Titanfall 1 and 2?
Xbox One had Titanfall 2.
Yeah. Okay, so Titanfall 2 on the Xbox, I'll get it. But that was that also on PlayStation? Yeah.
An EA game.
Yeah, I don't know. The Xbox One didn't really have many good exclusives.
It just really didn't have much.
I loved it. I did like it.
Yeah, I mean, I did too.
I like the controller.
For a certain amount of time, you know.
I definitely still prefer it over. I will still, even though I'm sitting there saying that it didn't come out with a whole bunch of shit, I still would prefer it 1,000 times over a PlayStation because I prefer the console. Because like my thing with it
PlayStation?
No, the Xbox over a PlayStation. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would too, but again, there's the numbers don't lie to you, and really, what came out on the Xbox One, not a whole lot to report. You know, Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I think the Xbox One. For me,
but Borderlands 3 was also on PlayStation. You know, so again, there's not. I mean, it was a bad 10 years for Xbox. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, for me personally, that was a point in gaming where I obviously I'm still loving games and love playing games and shit. What was the Wii U out at that time or coming out? So, and I'll get into that in a second. But I was out skating a lot, you know, skateboarding and doing my thing and doing without getting into it life. You know what I mean? Just kind of doing that. And, you know,
sucking dong and doing wrong.
One of those aren't true. I'll let you figure out which one. No,
you're leaving a lot up to bait, brother. A lot up to bait. Oh God. Moving on.
That ain't gonna do me nothing.
That ain't gonna do me nothing. That ain't doing me nothing.
But yeah, so gaming was kind of its own thing. Like PS4, I got my hands on the PS4 with somebody I was dating at the time because this was 2015. I'm thinking 2015, 2016, and
we talked about it on the episode.
Or 15 or 16. So I was living in Kokomo and shit at the time, and 14, 15 around that, and. I just wasn't really doing much of the gaming. You know, I was out skating. I was sponsored at the time through a debt company and a clothing company.
This is the exact opposite for me, bro. This was the peak of my gaming.
And this is the downfall of my game.
This is when because Xbox One had Twitch and Mixer on it.
Yeah, that's when I first got into Twitch. But the thing is,
it's kind of when I first got into it too. Now, unfortunately, I stopped like a fucking idiot. But.
You know, for me, and my first start into Twitch was literally me just going live to get people to come play Minecraft with me. I was like, hey, come play Minecraft with me, and I'd add people. I added 4 people on Xbox randomly, and we started playing. We built a world. I still have that world on my Xbox server, actually, which is really cool.
He checked on my Xbox.
It's still there. It's still there, and it's cool. It still has all what the people made and shit. It was awesome.
Dude, cloud saves are so fucking cool, man.
Oh, yeah. There's so much memories left in my Minecraft shit.
Yeah.
Cloud.
But dude, introducing the cloud was such a sick move.
But yeah, so it wasn't a time for me. You know what I mean? But but I'm gonna go into the Wii U. Because I gotta talk about it. So
Even
the Wii U did not perform well by any means.
It did not.
But what I'm gonna tell you though, it's an underrated console. I will say both in the sense of my personal experience with it, but also the games were good.
Oh my God.
They did not do very well.
13.
Yeah.
13 million units sold.
It did not do well at all. But the Wii U...
he said this makes one of Nintendo's least successful consoles.
But the Wii U...
discontinued in 2017. That's crazy.
The Wii U had to stumble and fall for us to get the Switch. It had to go there for us to get the Switch. You got to make some mistakes before you get there.
Smash Ultimate sold more copies of itself than the Wii U did.
Oh yeah, because it's Smash, man. That title carries hard.
That's crazy, dude. Okay, give me a second.
But yeah, no, the Wii U though, for me, I'll switch to a main cam since he's walking. See, this is what I'm talking about. We had to change shit for one page, and now it changes it throughout the whole system. And now it's just fucked. It's just mucked up. I hate it. Here. Why can't we just get a new one? Dad Fat then fall again with Switch 2. Depending on how you look at it. But yeah, for me, like the Wii U, I personally, it was a time in which I was going from couch to couch, kind of jumping around, at a young age. I was like 17 or whatever. 16, 17, and maybe going into 18. And so I carried that fucker with me everywhere. I had a Wii U. I had the Legend of Zelda edition of it, and that thing went with me everywhere. I had a backpack with my clothes in it and my Wii U, and it went anywhere and everywhere with me. And I played Mario 3D World.
We're still talking about the fucking Wii U.
Well, yeah, because I told you I was going to, and also you left, so I have to talk about something.
Dog shit console.
But so my personal connection to that. So I had that the 3D World, which I think is one of my favorite and one of the best Mario games. Breath of the Wild came out on there, and there's a handful of other games. Now I'll say like where the Wii U fell, they didn't, just like with the Kinect, they didn't implement the pad all that well. There's only a select few of games where that pad actually like played with the game. A lot of times it would just be like a second screen kind of thing. Because the whole thing of the Wii U is that you could shut the TV off and still be able to play. You know what I mean? Or like mom and dad can go watch their soaps, and you can still play Zelda or play Mario or whatever the hell you want to play, Call of Duty, because Black Ops 3 was on there. But once again, with the Wii U, it was big family time. Had a bunch of big family games on that thing. I remember playing one a lot. I even played it live on my fucking Facebook a handful of times. But yeah, I had a really big personal connection with it, because like whenever I said I was like couch hopping a little bit, I would take it to a friend's house, connect to their internet, and when I would go to bed, I would watch Game Grumps on my Wii U, like on that screen. I'll just plug it in because I wouldn't need it to plug it to a TV. I would just plug it in and have the screen and do all that. So the Wii U, despite all the backlash and everything with that, is one of my favorite consoles for sure, because I just have a deep personal connection to it. Outside of, I know it did not sell well at all. I will admit that it doesn't have many great games, but it does have great games. It did give us Breath of the Wild and Splatoon and some big shit in there. And it gave us the Switch.
The Wii U made it to the Times Magazine 50 worst inventions ever.
Yeah. I loved it. For me personally, I loved it. I liked the gamepad. I thought it fit really well.
You know what they did during this time? They went back and gave the N64 a disk drive.
What?
You heard me.
What do you mean?
Nintendo 64 disk drive.
For what? What are you talking about? Is it like you're comparing the Wii U to an N64 with a disk drive?
What I'm saying is they went back, right? They went back to the N64 and gave it a disk drive attachment.
Oh, that was on Time's like worst invention. So somebody in Nintendo, did somebody make it or did Nintendo make it? Because I don't remember.
Nintendo did that.
I never heard of that.
Nintendo did that.
A
disk drive add-on, an internet appliance for Nintendo 64. It was first announced at 1995's Nintendo Shoshinkai game show event, now called Nintendo World, the 64DD was repeatedly and notoriously delayed until its release in Japan December 1st, 99. Nintendo anticipated poor sales, sold the 64DD through mail order and bundled with RadNet dial-up subscription service instead of directly to retailers or consumers. Bro, I don't...
Hey man, Nintendo's out here trying shit.
They are trying shit.
But yeah, no. So like I will sit here and recognize reality, you know what I mean? Because like I said, feelings aren't facts. But to my feelings and, you know, my realm is that Nintendo, the N6, the Wii U was a great console to me, you know what I mean? And I loved that fucking console.
Dude, 13 million units sold was a hard number to.
Oh yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough to look at for fucking sure. But what? Moving on from
PlayStation's, when you see PlayStation's 117 million units sold, you're like,
yeah,
what a rough year for
shine a light. Because I mean, 13 million is a lot. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money still, but like
and
in
50,
comparison,
I mean, and even still, Xbox's 52 million is huge. But you see PlayStation's 117.
Yeah, 100 million is a lot different.
That's fucking wild.
In that realm of things, but yeah. So moving on from that, what it's like the Xbox One S,
the current generation, the 9th generation, what some people call the penultimate generation, where a lot of people think that's going to be the end of the console war.
Plateau.
The Xbox Series XS versus PlayStation 5.
Oh, so everything current. So what? The Switch or Switch 2? Would we put Switch 2 into that?
The Switch 2 would technically be a part of the next generation because the Xbox is supposedly coming out with another console either next year or 2027.
And then the PlayStation 6
PlayStation whatever will be coming out probably shortly after that. But
so I'll just like how we have been doing, I'll leave Nintendo to the side until we get through those.
It's gonna be a reoccurring theme though.
To get my side, because I think my side of it is going to be a lot shorter than yours. At this point, and for the last handful of years, I've been on PC. So since we're getting since we're at the end of the console wars, basically, essentially, for me, in my overall opinion, PC is where it's at. PC, you will never see me own another console unless if it's a Nintendo console, because the PC. There's a reason, I think personally, why they call it the Master Race, because you just
fall again with the Switch 2.
Yeah,
well, that's real though, brother.
Because with the PC, you got everything for the most part. You know what I mean? Because like even a lot of those Sony things, you got The Last of Us on Steam, you got Spider-Man, all the Spider-Mans on there. I'm pretty sure they have God of War on Steam too. Like all of that shit and a lot of those big things, those big exclusive, your Sony exclusives are on Steam. You got, and do it legally. You have emulators.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
You have and then everything that comes out on Microsoft on Xbox is going to be on Steam, and you have Game Pass. But the thing is too, Steam itself, you have games that you will never fucking see on either console on Steam. You know what I mean? You got indie games. You have a unfucking limited amount of indie games and random shit that you want to play. Web-based games if you want to. If you're feeling froggy, get on Cool Math Games. You know what I mean? Literally, you got VR.
Fair, you can do that. You can do that on your phone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can do it on your phone. But I'm just gonna say, like, on things that are dedicated to gaming and or whatever. There are dedicated gaming phones.
This isn't me saying it, but I mean, nowadays a lot of people have become mobile gamers.
Yeah, you got ROG phone gamers, you got
because
fucking
the backbone exists.
Yeah,
and a lot. I mean, you have Call of Duty Mobile, Fortnite Mobile. There's all kinds of games. I mean,
hell, you can play your Xbox games on your fucking.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can fully. But the thing is like you can fully go onto the App Store and buy full titles and just play them.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can
Steam's going to be on Xbox. I'm telling you, it's going to be fire. Mini PC right there. I'll get into it in a minute. I'm gonna let it.
But you, yeah, because you can play Stardew Valley on fucking your phone now. They had a whole
you know what's crazy about that? It's cheaper on like any other platform than it is on the phone.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's like $10 on the phone, and I'm pretty sure I paid $5 for it on sale.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, that's on sale, but at the same time, it's like, it's a mobile game.
Or I'm pretty sure you can get it on the fucking Game Pass, I think. Which, I mean, that's $11 a month. But
well, maybe it is on Game Pass.
I don't know. I don't remember. But with PC though, and with you saying that, I'm sure Steam is coming to there.
We'll get into that in a minute.
But
just finish your thought.
You got everything on there, and the thing is about PC too, is whenever after a couple years, and the same thing with PC, your shit's going to be obsolete, and you can't do nothing about it. You got to get the new console, and you can't do shit. But with you get a strong enough GPU and all that shit. With this is what I talk about. Where we're gonna get.
This is where we're gonna get into it.
But with my GPU and everything else that I have on it, it's going to last me years and generations of different games and different stuff and whatever, to where I'm going to be able to play it and have no issues with it. You know what I mean? For a while of gaming, and I won't have to buy nothing new. And the thing is, as well, if I do have to buy something, I'm not buying a whole new fucking console, and the new graphics card is probably going to be a little bit cheaper than buying a whole new console. Obviously, you have very expensive graphics cards. It depends on what you buy. But as time goes on, those graphics cards that can still run the newest games will go down in price. You know what I mean? Like the 4090s and stuff like that. That's, thousands of dollar graphics card right there. But in a handful of years where you absolutely need a 4090 to run the newest games, it's going to be cheaper. You know what I mean? And you can find third-party sellers or whatever if you need to. And I mean, the same thing with the consoles, you can find third-party sellers and shit. But it's just like, but then also now, if you're buying this console, you just have this shelf of consoles that you don't need and shit. And I just, for me, having this and having it be modular where I can upgrade things whenever I want. And also, I mean, the bits inside of it are cool to look at. I can see it. You know what I mean? I have these rainbow colored fucking RAM sticks in there and a endless mirror CPU cooler that looks cool. Just talking on the gay side of things. It looks good to look at. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's just much more versatility to what I can do with this PC versus getting a console, you know what I mean? And it just, I like having the just pretty much endless options of having Steam and having, all these other shit that's on there. And, a lot of these games too will perform better. And I'm not locked at anything, you know what I mean? I'm not locked up here or down here. I can go down here, up here, in between, or wherever the hell I want, because I can just change the settings. And playing certain games on PC versus console, you have more accessibility options to change it, you know what I mean? Rather than be fucking POV or something like that, you know what I mean? It's just, that's me for PC. You'll never see me with a console ever again, unless if it's, like I said, Nintendo, because I fucking eat shit and breathe fucking Nintendo. But go ahead, go off about why you think that's wrong and whatever.
All right, price point number one, brother. So the thing is upgrading a PC is always going to be much, much more expensive than just buying a console. And a console nowadays is going to last you a good 10 years. That's a decade of life, okay? And you're speaking in decades of life when you're only given about 100 years. A decade of life is actually fairly good, okay? And a decade of life for a PC, you're 10 years for a PC, you're going to need to replace parts. You're going to need to. And the graphics card alone, at least in today's climate for buying PC parts, is going to be about the same price as buying a console itself. Guaranteed. Even third-party sellers, it's going to be about the same price, okay? As far as the Steam thing, now this is more recent for consoles. Xbox has confirmed we're getting the Steam store on the Xbox Ally.
But we don't know if it's like a full Steam store.
We do know it's the full Steam store.
So you're getting every like indie game, because that's the thing. Because some of those can't play on console though, like can't play with controller.
We're getting Steam, and we're getting the Xbox store currently.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I have seen, it's the Steam store. That's what people have been saying.
Yeah.
Nobody's outright said it's going to be some different type of Steam. Nobody said it's not going to be the Steam store, right? So, as far as we know right now, it is the Steam store and the Microsoft store. That's what we have access to on the Xbox Ally. Past that, I mean, you're not wrong. Steam is the game store, right? I mean, except for Nintendo games, obviously, Steam is the game store. It has literally everything. It doesn't, and that's always been the way Steam has been. It has access to every PlayStation game and every single Xbox game.
And I will say,
indie developers that won't even make console games. Or
I will say,
at least they will, but it has to be played on PC first.
Well, I'll say with PC as well, you can go to places like whatever they're called. They got a bunch of different ones where you can get the keys for like fucking super cheap or whatever, like Y2 whatever.
But there's also those websites for Xbox keys and PlayStation keys. And
I didn't know if they had console stuff.
Definitely. One thing I will say, as far as the browser games, you can absolutely do that on Xbox. You can pull up Internet Explorer.
That was a tiny, petty little thing. It was just like, you got a browser. You got everything at your fingertips.
I understand that, but I took all the points that you made, and I have something to say about them. A browser, you can actually, if you want to play cool math games on your Xbox, pull up your browser. You can play cool math games if that's what you're into. But as far as that, I mean, consoles are consoles, PCs are PCs. You know what I mean? They are not really comparable. You know what I mean? They're played differently. You know what I mean? It's like, as far as UI stands, I mean, of course, if you're playing the same game, they're relatively going to be played the same way, right? But mouse and keyboard, accessibility features, FOV changes, like you like to do. A lot of that stuff you're going to find a lot more of on PC. You know what I mean? Turning off shaders, turning off motion blur. A lot of games don't even let you turn off motion.
Yeah, no, that's like for me in like PC and why I full on, like, because like I understand that there's very much similar, like it's a phrase that I hate, same but like a little bit, but like same but different.
Same but different. Yeah,
is like.
But I mean, realistically, that's what it is. You know, I mean, it's the same game, but it is different.
And
you know,
so for me and for and that's why because it's all subjective. You know what I mean? It's all whatever you
preference. Yeah,
preference. Because like if you're playing, like for me, like Ryan speaking out to the audience, as long as you're playing games, I don't give a fuck what you play it on.
Right.
But if I had to choose, you'll never see me with a PlayStation or an Xbox. And I prefer Xbox. I love Xbox. But you'll never see me with an Xbox because I prefer mouse and keyboard, and I know you can hook it up, but I prefer just this overall, you know, this. I got two monitors and, you know.
A lot of what you're trying to say, I think, is you prefer the UI differences. Take Baldur's Gate, right? You prefer the UI in Baldur's Gate compared to the UI on console.
Yeah,
right?
but I prefer the movement.
You hate the way it moves on PC. You like it on it on the controller at least.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of, and this goes for like games like Civilization, right? Sid Meier's Civilization 5, 6, whatever. The UI for those type of games are always better on PC.
Yeah. So that made me sit there and think of it. So I guess what I'm getting at is, so even though we're playing the same games, let's say you're playing Civ 6, I'm playing Civ 6. Different. Like our experiences playing it is going to be different. And like, so what we're talking about with survival games. Survival games are so much better on PC than they are on, well, because like, and the why I say that is because like navigating through menus, because like you have to like, you press on the stick and you're waiting for your little puck thing to drag across the fucking screen, and it takes forever and a fucking day to do it.
Here's the thing. I will concede the point of some some survival crafting games are a lot better to play on PC, but that doesn't go for every survival crafting game.
I'm not gonna say
Grounded,
every, but
okay, the most recent one we've been playing, Grounded. Okay, I have not played it on PC, right? But I've seen the UI on PC and it's not that different. Okay, now you might be a little bit quicker at it, but it's not a crutch for me to have to switch my items and stuff to even like it doesn't stop me from being any better or worse at the game than PC players.
Like, so
the thing is like it's just a subjective point of view, right? I prefer to play some games on PC. I prefer to play a lot of my games on console, right? I just like a controller, and Brian gives me shit for it. I'll plug in a controller and play any game on my PC because I just like that. I like a controller in my hand. I like the accessibility features when it comes to PC. Most recently we played Vermintide together. The accessibilities on Vermintide are much better than they are on console. Much better than they are on console.
No,
so I mean, it all just depends on who you are.
It definitely depends on who you are and stuff like that. So with both parts, I think like there's a lot of survival games that are way better on PC. But like I said, just the UI, and let's say the UI is the same. I think just navigating through the UI with PC is just better in my opinion. Because like like you say, it's not a crutch to navigate through your UI on Grounded, but you play it on PC, you would see that it's so much easier to go navigate through that shit with a computer, with mouse and keyboard and stuff like that. Because it just like, and that goes back into the whole, and we're not going to get into that because we're talking about the consoles more than anything. That goes back into, mouse and keyboard versus controller and shit. But it's just, we're going to talk about the consoles at their basis. I know you can plug in a controller into to a PC and play it that way. And just like some games, you can plug in a mouse and keyboard and play it on the Xbox, but not all of them.
Right.
It's just the same thing. Not all games on Steam can you play with a controller, because like literally Steam will tell you like, oh, it's somewhat compatible, or it's compatible, or it's just not compatible at all. Right. Because like Ready or Not, that's a game that's only on Steam and you cannot play it with a controller. It is impossible to play it. And that's another thing that I think that Steam has over, because like Ready or Not will never be on the console, or probably will never be on the console because it is very...
Yeah, and this is another point I was going to make. We don't know if the new Xbox is going to be Steam integrated yet. Yeah. I think they're probably waiting to see how the Xbox Ally performs to really confirm that or not.
And so that's what I'm saying.
I think they really what I think Xbox is wanting to do is end this thing that we've been calling the console war, right?
I don't think it's going to end it. They're just going to have a bigger leg up on it because they are mixing in another competitor. I
disagree with that as well, because they're giving PlayStation exclusives, and PlayStation is giving us exclusives.
I think a little bit what I said, they're giving them exclusive because they're being integrated into the biggest gaming thing, while PlayStation isn't.
I think it's more that they're integrating one of the biggest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they know that that's going to give them a leg up, so they're giving them this to like balance it out.
I see what you're
obviously
saying,
that's all speculation. That's just what I'm saying. That's how I feel about it.
I don't know that it is a leg.
Yeah, no one knows, but
what I'm saying is I don't think they're getting a leg up with it. Like,
because here's like because like obviously we don't know anything on how they're actually going to integrate Steam into it, but like the way that I'm thinking that they're going to integrate Steam is that it's going to be some sort of Steam Lite, because not every game on Steam is going to be able to be played on that thing. You know what I mean? Is what I'm assuming. Because like I said, there's certain games that just won't play with a controller, that can't play with a controller. And this is supposed to be a handheld console that's kind of like a controller. And granted, you have the Steam Deck and shit, but like, and the Steam Deck, I'm pretty sure, has full access to Steam.
The Xbox Ally will have full Steam integration. It will allow users to access and launch their Steam games directly from the Xbox app, effectively creating a unified library for all PC games, including those from Game Pass, Steam, and other storefronts. Which means we're probably getting Epic Game Store, Blizzard Game Store, and Rockstar.
So Xbox is literally just... Well, Microsoft is basically just making a Steam Deck that is operating...
ROG makes the Steam Deck, so they are effectively...
Valve. I thought it was Valve that makes the Steam Deck.
You could be right about that.
ROG is another company that makes gaming products, because my motherboard's ROG,
Valve themselves.
Yeah, Valve made the Steam Deck.
So I think Valve is just done making the Steam Deck and want to pass it off to somebody else. Probably this is what I'm gathering, anyways. They want to pass it off to somebody else, which means the Xbox will have full Steam integration as well as Epic Game Store. I guess any other game store that they decide to put on it. I don't know what they will put on it.
Yeah, because I know like what I heard is that like it's supposed to have the UI is supposed to literally just kind of be like an Xbox. It's not because like it's
window based.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it will be full. It would be full Steam library.
I'm interested to see it. That's what I got to say. You know what I mean?
The Xbox LA is a window-based handheld, which means it can run any PC game, including those from Steam.
Excuse me.
Windows-based. I said window-based.
Window-based. I'm interested.
Game Pass, other storefronts like Epic Game Store, and even custom mods, providing a versatile gaming experience. It has mod.
Yeah, probably like they probably mean like
the Steam Workshop, probably.
Yeah, Workshop, but they also probably are like, you know, you can download an emulator on it, kind of thing, like without saying it, because you know they can't really.
That's actually that's actually huge. I'm not gonna lie to you. So,
but the thing is, I don't have a Steam Deck. So I don't have a Steam Deck, but I'm pretty sure you can just get the Xbox Game Pass on the Steam Deck.
Oh.
Because then essentially, we already have exactly what ROG and Xbox is wanting to do.
While the Steam Deck doesn't directly support Xbox Game Pass, you can access it through cloud gaming via Microsoft Edge. You'll need a Game Pass Ultimate subscription, not just PC Game Pass, to stream games via Xbox Cloud Gaming. So, yes, kind of.
No, yeah, okay.
Yes, kind of.
So it's like, well, so with that ROG thing, it's going to be integrated in there, so you can actually just go straight to the Game Pass and not have to go through a browser.
There's a physical button that you push to switch between Xbox Store and Steam Store.
Okay. You know, like I said, I'm interested to see it, and you know, it'll be the same. This is like my perception of what the information I know, because like I said, I'm speaking as somebody that doesn't fucking know anything about it, because
which is why I looked it up, because I was fairly certain that they just said it was going to be full Steam integration.
Yeah, which
for me, I just wanted to double check, because it's still going to be what it looks like here is it's still going to be the Xbox Series home screen, right? But there's a button you can push to access the Steam store.
Yeah, like it's essentially a handheld Xbox / Steam Deck.
Yeah,
pretty much,
essentially.
And you know, I'm interested to see it. It'll be cool. You know what I mean? Because I want a Steam Deck for sure. Like I would like to have one. It'd be awesome.
I mean, like I said, and even like because the Steam Deck hasn't had Microsoft Store, well, legitimately had Microsoft Store, I think it's going to be super sick to be able to play Microsoft and Steam games.
Yeah, because like for me, and like why like the Steam Deck and like the X, like I would for that. I mean, everybody's still seeing me, but you're seeing what I'm looking at. For me, you know, I could play Stalker, because like I have Stalker on the Game Pass because I have the Game Pass. I just wanted to play it without buying it. But if I wanted to, I could buy Stalker and play it on here. Or a lot of the games that are on the Game Pass, minus, you know, Gears or whatever, I can get on Steam and shit. So that's why, like, you know, I don't know, like, so obviously it just still comes down to preference and shit. But I still just PC, I think just overall, I feel is just like, because like also with like a PC, you can just do absolutely everything on PC. You know what I mean? Like
PC right there.
You can just do you can do anything on a PC. Essentially, you know, you can watch all your stuff on it, watch all your movies. You can create stuff. You know,
you can do that on PC too, or Xbox too.
Well, no, I'm talking about like you can do like you can go, you know, get some application to create 3D animation. You know what I mean? Or you can edit videos and you can do the PC is just very versatile. I know we're talking about gaming, but like but also consoles have the ability to.
Now you're just trying to convince people that PCs are better.
Well, but like I'm talking to the other things of consoles. I'm talking about the other side of consoles because consoles can also, you can stream and watch movies and watch YouTube and do everything else on it. I think like for me, and like you can just do so much shit. Like I have this one thing I can edit, I can work, I can play, and just all of it, all together. But like I said, it's all down to personal preference. My preference is that this PC is better and performs better. You know what I mean? And yeah, I just it's just better in my opinion overall.
Way more expensive than a PC.
Depending on how you do it, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you get it for free, then it's not so bad. But
I'm trying to find if there's any other notes to this because I mean that's pretty much the end of the console war.
I mean, we just talked about the difference between PC.
Oh yeah, I mean we really didn't really.
Well, because like, I feel talked about Xbox to PlayStation.
Well, because I feel like at this point in the console war, it's just kind of there's not really much there.
Well, no, actually, there are a few developments in the past. These consoles came out in 2020, so in the past 5 years, a lot of things have happened.
Well,
Xbox
I guess I have to.
Activision Blizzard. So Xbox acquired ZeniMax Media. They acquired Activision Blizzard. They acquired Bethesda. They acquired Obsidian, and PlayStation has been very upset about that. Hence the whole monopoly court case that they had, where Xbox literally had to sign documentation saying that Call of Duty will still be on PlayStation console, right?
Do you imagine?
So,
imagine if they said "fuck you" and only put that game on.
That's the thing. They literally can't now.
Well, yeah, no, they can't. I'm just saying, like, put yourself in the...
They can't right now. They could in like 10 years.
Yeah,
but
like that would be insane in the console market.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I really wish they would have. I really wish they would have just made it. I mean, because they gave it to us for free on Xbox Game Pass,
which is still so wild to me that all the newest, like Black Ops 6, the newest Black Ops, is out on the Game Pass for free. Like I'm thinking about downloading.
You have to pay $15 a month for it.
Yeah,
you get over 120 different games, and even on Xbox Game Pass, you get EA Play.
Well, yeah. So you play on the PC. The PC Game Pass is like $12 a month, and I don't think you get full access to EA Play, but you have a lot of EA games on there, and but yeah, you have like there was Modern Warfare 2 and 3 and Black Ops on there for free, and so much shit on there.
We're getting Grounded 2. We're getting Grounded 2 day one. We're getting Outer Worlds 2 day one. We're getting a lot of. I mean, the next Call of Duty will be dropped on Game Pass day one
for free.
It's insane. $15 a month, but
and well, that's I think that's what I was getting at.
So if you're on PC. Here's the thing that Xbox does is if you don't even pay for Ultimate, you can still play free games online with other people. So if you just want to play Fortnite, you don't have to buy Ultimate. You can just play online.
And so okay, that's another. I guess I didn't think about that. I mean, that's the thing that Steam does as well. I mean, Xbox does it too. Like you just said, no fucking subscription for online or anything. Yeah. I mean, the only subscription that you pay for is if you want EA Play or that. But if you want EA Play or if you want the Game Pass and shit like that, you have this plethora of online games in any form factor that you want.
I will also say that Steam has incredible sales as well.
Oh yeah,
Steam sales are wild.
Yeah, right now on Steam you can get Battlefront 2 for like $2.
Right now you can get Civilization 6 for $250.
Really? Yep. Yeah, that's like still a $60 game, right?
Well, Civ 7 is out. I think it's closer to a $30 to $40 game.
Let me still $30 versus $2.
Yeah, $250 is.
It's a fucking steal. But yeah, no, the summer sale, the winter sale, they have a fall sale. Games are always going on sale.
Name a season and then name a name a international holiday.
Steam
they
has
have a sale for it.
Yeah. Hell, just the other day they had a fishing sale. They're just all these games are for fishing. They're just on sale.
So like they're just like, hey, Valve sends out this mass email like, hey, we're gonna hold this sale here. put your name in a hat. You know, do you want to put your game on sale? And they'll either do it or they won't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but a lot of games are like, yeah, fucking put it on sale. Who cares?
You can get banger games on Steam like that aren't like the greatest. Like they're not like graphically amazing, but like there's so many.
But if they're fun, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, because like okay, take Repo for example. Repo is not that expensive a game.
I got Repo for $5.
Yeah. But the amount of time that you can spend playing with friends on that game will not be on console, really. Like, you won't see it on the Xbox or a PlayStation. And
yet.
Well, I'm saying in the current statement, current state. And that game has fucking hours, weeks, months of entertainment because every experience is going to be different a little bit. You know what I mean? You got that with, like, Lethal Company. You know, they finally brought Phasmophobia over the console. But, like, take that for example.
I'll be honest with you. Plays like 100%.
But like, you know, let Phasmophobia be a like peer into the PC world of, you know, games that come out and shit like that. They're just great.
Well, okay, yeah, but
you got little gems that come out on.
There are games on console that do play better than they do on PC.
Like what?
Baldur's Gate.
It's literally just the movement. Having an analog stick to move in that game instead of pointing and clicking is way better.
Okay, I got another one for you. Ready? Any Souls game.
It's not even the console. It's just the controller.
It's a console, baby.
It's just the controller. It plays fine.
I got another one. And you played this one with Monster Hunter.
I play Monster Hunter with mouse and keyboard. So
I know, that's why I said you play it fucking weird, dude. Literally, most Monster Hunter players are playable M and K.
Yeah, no, I'm a weird fucker, and I play
Here's the thing.
mouse and keyboard with Monster Hunter.
Again, at the end of the day, if you like PC, you like PC. If you like console, you like console. It comes down to preference.
Hell, I was playing.
They're both ungodly expensive. Either way you dice it.
Yeah,
okay? They're just expensive, right? Console, PC, whatever. They're fucking expensive as shit. It's just whatever you like to play.
Just play games. I don't care. Like, we don't care what
they're fucking fun.
They're good for the soul.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
No, but ultimately, I'm actually gonna dive into the Xbox Series X versus the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I would say at this point in the war and with all that, you're more inclined to answer that shit because, like I said, I've been so far out of consoles for so long that like I don't know what the fuck's going on with it. I don't, and also it don't affect me of what's going on because I get the best of both worlds. I get your games and Sony's games, so I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you're doing. It ain't gonna change me nothing.
You get Sony's games a little later.
It ain't gonna bother me nothing. You know what I mean?
I
I get everything besides Nintendo. I get everything and more. So I don't care.
So I mean, basically, we don't have numbers because we're still in their lifetime. You know what I mean? So until the next consoles come out, we don't really have sales numbers, at least on this wiki page. I'm sure I could fucking look it up and see what the sales numbers are looking like. But right now, you got 125 XP there, Garrett.
He's the top side.
Right now, it seems like, so a lot of people are thinking that Microsoft is conceding the console quote unquote war, right? Because they're, you know, giving away exclusives to Sony and partnering with Steam and shit. So a lot of people think that Microsoft is conceding to Sony in their console war. The thing is, I don't really think it's like conceding a war. I just think they're just like, we just want more people to have access to our games, and we just want everybody to have a good time playing our games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like you can't have, like, you have to have competition to be able to grow. And it's the same thing of like, so something that I can maybe speak on, and like you all benefit off of each other. So like this, for example, everybody knows, and like everybody tried talking shit about it. So Samsung makes Apple's screens, right?
Well, they used to.
No, they still do. To this day, they still make their screens. So like Samsung would be so screwed if they didn't do that, because Apple pays them millions, maybe billions of dollars a year to make Apple's screens because they make so many phones, and everybody knows, because even Samsung knows that Apple is going to sell more phones, more units than they will. You know what I mean? Because Apple is just more. It's the guy. You know what I mean? It's the phone. It just works. Like what they say, it just works. You know what I mean? And whatever side of the pond that you're on, because I'm somebody that I'm in the water. You know what I mean? I'm grabbing at everything. I'm using everything. You know, it would hurt them more to stop making their screens. You know what I mean? Than it would to be like, oh no, we're gonna fuck them and not make their screens and make them go somewhere else and make them make their screens. It's like, okay, well, I'm Mr. Apple. You know how much money I have. We will go make it somewhere else.
You want to hear something crazy?
What?
As far as global sales, iPhone is only beating Samsung by 1%.
I mean, at this point in the game, it's starting to get there because like Samsung is stepping it up a little bit with certain things, and I think what's starting to kind of happen in the world with a lot of things, and I think a term that a lot of people are hearing here lately is fatigue. Because like there's a thing called Apple tax that a lot of people that happens with phones is with Apple phones. There's this Apple tax. You actually pay more for subscriptions through Apple whenever you subscribe to certain things like Hulu or certain. I don't know exactly. I'm just using Hulu as an example. Let's say you go to subscribe to like Hulu or like some Panera Bread thing. The subscription actually is going to be more on an iPhone than if you do it on the Samsung. Now there is a way to go. It's Apple taxes. Don't fucking know. But there is a way on Apple that you can go in there and you can change. Like there's a lot more detail and shit like that. But yeah, no, there's this Apple taxes. I don't know. It just applies to a lot of certain shit.
It doesn't like I don't know, dude.
Because Apple pays.
I don't really want to get to it.
But like what I'm saying is like the whole point. I'm not gonna get super deep into all that shit because obviously I can go on for hours about it. But the two consoles are going to benefit off of each other by rather allowing one, because like just like I was saying, Samsung makes a fuck ton of money making the screens for Apple. Now it's going to be the same thing.
There was a point where Microsoft was making a part for PlayStation, and I don't remember.
Yeah, it's exactly like Sony can make money, or Microsoft can make money by allowing Sony to have their thing, just like how Sony makes a lot of money for giving Spider-Man to Disney. You know what I mean? Because like the 3 Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland made a fuck ton of money, especially the last one. You know what I mean? So Sony made a lot of money for allowing Disney to do that. I still think that Disney doesn't. Sony just needs to give all the rights up to Marvel and let them do it, because Disney son of a bitch. Sony just keeps fucking everything up. Look at every Spider-Man spinoff that they tried doing. Sony, stop making movies. Just make phones and TVs, cameras. Your camera's awesome. Your consoles are good. TVs are good. Your phones are good. Stop making movies. Leave Spider-Man alone. You're fucking them up. All of it. All the Venom sucked. Carnage sucked. Craven sucked. Morbius sucked. Madam Web really sucked. Stop it. This is where I need to insert the Michael Jordan meme. Just stop. Get some help.
Well, so they don't make any like specific part for them, but Sony uses Microsoft's cloud gaming thing.
Oh, they use their cloud service.
Microsoft does provide back-end cloud infrastructure services like Azure to Sony, which are used for various Sony services, including PlayStation's online services.
So they give them their online shit. You couldn't play your console online if it wasn't for Xbox. So.
Additionally, Microsoft has been releasing some of its Xbox games on PlayStation platform, a shift in strategy from previous console exclusivity. Yeah, so cloud infrastructure, game releases, strategic partnership as far as like the cloud thing goes.
Yeah, because I'm sure Sony's going to get a small percentage of the people that buy or play,
Xbox games.
Yeah, Xbox games like Halo or whatever.
Yeah, so all in all, notoriously, PlayStation does sell more than Xbox. But as we just read, PlayStation wouldn't be anywhere without Microsoft. So get fucked.
So that's where like I think where like they correlate together, and how I think I've said this a long time ago in the past. PlayStation is kind of like Apple. It works. It's really good. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody knows me, like, I love Apple, and Apple, like, on a tech side, does very, very well. You know what I mean? But on the same sense, too, Sony, or PlayStation, and Apple, they're very flashy. They look very pretty. They're like that high end. Like, oh, I have a Apple, or I have a PlayStation, so therefore I'm better than you. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. While Samsung or any Android device and an Xbox, you're like, you're poor. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it gets associated with. For some
you can be
reason.
pretty, but good luck without the functionality we provide for you.
Yeah, and so it's the same thing. Like Apple, even though Apple and Sony, I'm sure, could easily go pay other things to go make certain parts for them. But the thing is,
Sony might not be able to
maybe
because it's the cloud gaming thing.
Yeah, because like, just
hey, what a sub!
We got a new sub.
Let's
Came
go,
up on the
dude.
screen. There you are, right there. The subscription thing actually fucking worked for once.
Let's go,
Jesus.
Dude. You love to see it.
Welcome in. But you know, like, yeah, Sony may or may not and everything, but like there's such pinnacle parts of like, you know, their things, because like Apple needs screens. You know what I mean? Just like Sony needs to be able to play your games online. So it's like, I'd rather go to the person that makes it the best. You know what I mean?
Because
like,
I mean, Microsoft is notorious for not like letting cheaters in. You know?
Oh yeah, no. Microsoft is very good about keeping their shit straight. Their online stuff is the best. You know, no issues with it. Never been hacked really. Well, not hacked to the degree that Sony has. Just like, you know, Samsung definitively does make the best phone screens. I'm going to tell you, I don't care how much I love Apple. Samsung phone screens look amazing. They look great. So
I just don't like Samsung's UI.
Yeah, their UI is getting, their UI got a lot better, especially with like the One UI 8 that's about to come out. But it's because they're mimicking base Android and Apple a little bit all in one. So it's a lot better now. But so yeah, everybody needs each other. You know what I mean? Because just like Xbox is going to be benefiting off of PC, you know, with Steam and everything, we all benefit. They all benefit off of each other. And the moment, I get that you have to have competition, and competition is the only way that you can grow and get better and stuff like that. You hang out with people on the same level as you're not going to get anywhere. You need to hang out with people that are better than you.
You're fucking telling me.
And the fuck is that supposed
Ryan?
to be? I'm better than
took you a second. He's like,
the fuck
is that supposed to
be? Yeah. No. So you need to be around people that are better at certain things than you. You know, so Samsung benefits off of Apple. Well, they take a lot of notes from Apple because Apple is very good with software and certain other things. And
yeah, if only
Sony
Apple wasn't so stingy with their Bluetooth software, dude. My God, if they just let people use their Bluetooth integration on other devices, life would be so much easier.
What do you mean?
I watched an interview. Mark Zuckerberg was talking about his new Meta AI glasses that he has now.
Oh yeah.
And he approached Apple to use their Bluetooth software because Apple has fantastic Bluetooth integration. I mean, everything that they have is like connected, right?
Oh yeah,
you
which
have your iPad, you have
your
your pod, you have your pencil. All of that stuff can be it's all Bluetooth together, and it's pretty fucking seamless. It's pretty quick and it's pretty seamless.
Within the ecosystem, because they call it continuity. And yeah, within their ecosystem and all Apple products, yes, it's very seamless. Their ecosystem is the best.
So Zuckerberg went and he was like, dude, I'll pay you whatever. Just let us use it to make it easier for people to Bluetooth their Meta AI glasses to their phone or whatever, right? And they were like, no, we don't want you to do that.
Yeah, Apple,
like
you can...
Why?
You can use the Meta glasses on an iPhone, but you have to have like a third-party app or some other stupid shit.
It's dog shit.
And
it's so stupid.
Yeah, Apple, well, it's two things. Do I agree that it's a little bit ridiculous, but then also look at it on their side of like, you know, it is like a business thing.
What are they gaining? He literally is willing to pay them for.
Because if Apple makes their own thing, they're going to make more money off of that. So it's just like they leave it to their own ecosystem. They make their own. Apple's very like we make our own thing.
Yeah, but Apple
has
AI
their problems.
fucking sucks.
Apple AI does suck. It sucks ass.
If they make their
Apple intelligence sucks.
own like if they make their own like intelligent glasses or smart glasses, dude, it's gonna be fucking bad.
Well, I'll sit there and I'll say the Vision Pros. They're ungodly expensive, but they're very good. Like they're like $5,000-$6,000, but they're very good.
Dumb.
They're like AR glasses and shit like that. I would love to have a pair of Vision Pros, honestly.
I would like to have good vision.
You tell them, fucking me. I went to the hospital like a month ago and shit, and did like a little vision thing, and my eyes are bad. They suck. Like from far, from close, it's not bad.
I told you that. I told you that like last week.
I knew that. I knew my eyes were bad.
But you told me, you're like, my vision's not that bad. Bro.
It's not terrible, but it's bad.
You just said my
I said it's bad. It's not terrible, it's bad. There's a difference. I need glasses for far away stuff. Everything close up, I'm good. I'm fine. I can read it, you know. But anything from afar,
kind of
get a little dicey. But
you like how when I wear my glasses, you can see my eyes, but when my glasses basically not.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people do that.
That's pretty wild.
Dude, whenever I go in and out of the fucking, because like I'm stuck in the house for the most, you know, the vast majority of the day, and so it being summertime, going outside with these baby blues, fucking sucks so much ass, dude. I can't see shit for like the first like 3 minutes of being outside. It's like a flashbang goes off every time I go outside.
Oh yeah, same. I went outside today to go to CVS, man, and my eyes were like, I did that crying, you know, like I couldn't open my eyes for a little while.
Yeah, like every time I go outside, I'm just like doing this. It's like, all right, it was a good day.
Walking out of the house like fucking Helen Keller.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know where else.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up, man.
Yeah, it's been 3 hours so far.
Go ahead and wrap it up. My ears are paying the price, but I mean, we did good.
It was a good
we talked
episode.
about all of the console war. We talked about our point of view from it, you know, our experience in it, our experience with it.
No, I think we hit it pretty well on the head there.
What are you doing?
I was just checking stuff. But you know, the console war, a way to end it and way to end the console war, just play games. Just if you want to play PC, play PC. If you want to play Xbox. Now,
also, if you're a collector of like video game consoles and stuff, you know, first of all, good on you. You're doing the Lord's work out here. Second of all, like, keep buying them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, PC is very accessible.
Also, keep
PC
buying
has
it. Like, I know we haven't been talking about Nintendo. We didn't talk about Nintendo too much. Nintendo's good.
Do not buy the Switch 2. Do not buy the Switch 2. Give it a year or two.
Maybe. I mean, I say that with every console. Let it have its faults first, and then buy the better version of it.
My
I say that for
issue is
every console.
That price tag needs to drop a little bit before I'm willing to even think about getting it.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, enjoy your consoles or enjoy your PC.
Just play games.
Whatever you choose to play on. But I mean, ultimately, we are a nostalgic channel, right? And consoles are nostalgic. You know what I mean? Just innately. You know, they've been around for well over 4 decades. You know, so like, you know, it's being a nostalgia channel. Buy consoles, bro. They make good memories. Couch co-op you can't do on a fucking PC. Well, you can, but it's not great. Remote play is not as easy to do.
Well,
as
you can do
some
remote
people
play.
might think it is.
No. So like doing console, couch co-op on PC is kind of
not really
can't
a thing.
really do it.
But and that's what.
Besides like golf with friends or some
This
shit.
is actually a point I wanted to make earlier. Is couch co-op is one of my favorite things in the world. I like sitting on a couch. I like playing with my homie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I can't do that on a PC. Well, at least
Can't really do that on console anymore.
Yeah, it's a dying thing, and it's fucking annoying.
The only way that you can do it on console,
there are a lot of game companies that are like they stay true to it. I mean, Call of Duty named right, is a big game company that has been very adamant about,
even fucking then when we were playing Black Ops on like
it's not, it wasn't well done.
Buggy
it
as
was
shit.
not well done. It was very buggy. It was very glitchy, but it was still there. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, Gears of War, namely, Halo, namely, they all do their couch co-op. Borderlands, it still does couch co-op, but it is a dying thing, and I hate it. I hate it so much because a lot of what video games were hanging out with your friends. You know what I mean? Now you still can do that. You know, you have like online play, you have Xbox Party, you have Discord. You can still hang out with your buds, and you know, but nothing really beats
smelling your friend.
Snuggling your, loving your homie, giving your homie a little kiss on the cheek before bed when you do your little sleepover as a 30-year-old grown man.
No, it's just like you're playing. You're playing, you know, Army of Two or Borderlands together and shit, and you're like, let's get this dub, and you give him a little peck, and you're like, we got this.
Little peck on the cheek.
Or you know, you're playing some co-op thing,
pizza,
playing some co-op game, and you guys finally get past that boss or whatever. You're like, yeah, good,
dude.
You know, you fucking just aggressively.
All jokes aside, right? Sometimes that does like the pop off after you finally kill a boss that you've been trying to kill for a while. It gets pretty wild, especially when you had a buddy over.
Emotions fly. Like, you know what I mean?
Fuck yeah, dude.
You just finally beat a boss and then you're fucking your friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. You're sliding in between the cheeks.
Yeah. Packing the poo.
No, seriously, I do miss couch co-op a lot. I really do miss it. It was a very fun time for me. It was a big part of my childhood, couch co-oping, like Gears of War, Halo, and stuff with my friends. I mean, Borderlands more recently, I played with Will.
Yeah.
It's a genuinely good time. I mean, you order pizza with your friend, you grab a couple controllers, and you just fucking waste your life away for a few 12 hours.
A few 12.
Just a few.
A meaner 12.
Just a meager 12 hours.
There's a lot of things that I miss of console. Because, I mean, especially like with like GameCube, like.
Yeah, dude.
Like looking over at it, there's like literally four slots.
Four slots on that sumbitch for a reason.
And like, they're all dotted and numbered, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have like four little dots. And like arguing like, oh no, it's my GameCube, so I'm first player. You know what I mean? Arguing over first player and shit.
Now I know you didn't have this same experience, but arguing with your sibling was the best.
Yeah, mine didn't. That didn't happen very often.
My thing was like, hey, I'm oldest, bro. I'm always first player in this household, bitch.
Yeah, I didn't play.
You can ask Mikey, bro. You can ask Mikey playing games with him. I'm like, I'm first fucking player, bro. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, baby.
I didn't play mini games with like Taylor growing up and everything. Like we played sometimes, but you know, it wasn't like a huge thing. But no, we'll try to round it up because we're about to hit the 3.5 hour mark. Yeah, to say it right off the end, thank you guys for coming and hanging out and being a part of it. More content is still coming, like we just had those issues and everything, kind of like back in the, the moment when everything started fucking up. We're just kind of getting that backlog back together so that way we can actually put shit, catch all the way back up because we're so behind on some of that stuff. And personally, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It bothers the living shit out of me. It's a little disturbing.
I mean, it bugs me too, but it doesn't bug me nearly as much as him because I know that we still put out a weekly thing for you guys.
Yeah, and
so it at least makes me feel a little bit better about it.
Wii Sports was a brawl. Yeah, it was. I'll tell you what.
You throw down on some Wii Sports boxing, dude. Shit gets heated.
That's how you get the shit. That's how you get it all out. I'd say the bowling.
Well, surprisingly, Wii Bowling was the most competitive game in that.
Wii Bowling in our house was awesome.
Wii Bowling is very fun.
What I loved about
tennis wasn't so bad.
Baseball,
but baseball
was the best.
I didn't like baseball too much. I was more of a bowling golf guy.
The golf was really fun.
The golf was fun.
I would say what I really loved about Wii Sports was like the body composition thing that you can do, where you do all those competitions and all those like certain modes, and it tells you how old you are.
Yeah, dude.
And everything.
Yeah, and you're just like you wanted the console to tell you were like 95 years old, so you just did poorly.
You just did super shit.
And you're like, hey man, you're like 96 years old and probably geriatric, so like what are you doing with a Wii?
You have early onset rigor mortis.
Early onset rigor mortis, yeah. That's funny.
But
where did you hear that? I haven't heard that in a long time.
I don't know. Like we just all said it.
Did you hear it from me?
No, I think it's just a collective thing that
I don't remember. I heard it
one
from
of all of
somewhere,
us have
and
said. I feel like our friend group sometimes is just a hive mind, and we just the jokes go all throughout.
Yeah, they just get thrown out, and like
who said it originally?
Who's the owner of that one?
Yeah, I know, because that's the thing. There's so many things that like I've said that you adopted, and I'm trying to think of some stuff that you. I mean, I think I said bud for a while. Like I just make jokes about that.
Yeah.
And you guys and your fucking
dude.
stupid ass.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking hate it.
I remember starting the panache thing.
Panache.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Panache. We did that for a long
We did that for a hot minute. But yeah, you know, your friend groups just end up turning into a hive mind, and you all just saying the same shit. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, we're just kind of getting a backlog back together so we can catch back up. You know what I mean? So we're going to be putting stuff out, and
really need to.
I think
get some more videos recorded.
I think I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself of just trying to bust shit out and do a bunch of stuff or whatever. So yeah, just keep a head out, keep. You know what I mean? Just keep.
And that's that.
Keep your eyes out for new, for the content coming out and everything. Like I said, one's already recorded, but it's already edited and done, but I'm gonna wait to put it out for a little while just to, backlog it up and everything. Get a couple weeks of those edited and done, and we'll keep doing the show and we'll do whatever. Also, right at the what we said at the top, to say at the end, hit that link tree if you're somebody that creates any content or anything, whether that be music, art, or anything. We have a submit form within the link tree where you guys can submit your music or your art, and we showcase it on the show because we always have like a 10-minute pre-show. We'll show the music, art, give you a shout out depending on which tier you select. Also within that link tree is a 10 free meals from HelloFresh. If you know what HelloFresh is, they send you fresh ingredients with a little cue card on how to cook the meal. You can set it to whatever, lifestyle that you have, whether vegetarian, vegan, any of that, meatitarian, like I always say in that. And then 30-day free trial of Hulu. So that's the great one. That's the big one. 30 days of that, just watch whatever you want. Get those show, get that binge watching in the 30 days. Is
Masked Singer still on Hulu? I don't even know.
I think so.
I was a big Masked Singer fan.
I thought it was cool.
Big Masked Singer fan.
But I would always just
what's on there now? What, Rookie? Rookie's on there.
The Rookie's really good. I watched a little bit of that.
They have a lot of good stuff on.
A lot of good stuff on Hulu. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. Hulu has some good shows.
I remember a time where it was just Netflix and Hulu for a long time.
Disney Plus is my thing, obviously, because
me personally, Crunchyroll.
Well,
but that's a whole different beast.
I'd say right now Netflix is, because I'm watching The Walking Dead finally after 15 years of that show being out.
If you're into Netflix now, you might as well give Stranger Things a shot. It's a really
I
good
know.
show.
Here's the thing. I know I'll like Stranger Things. I just haven't jumped on it.
Umbrella Academy is really good too, dude.
Yeah, and I know Gerard Way.
You like
made
My
it,
Chemical Romance, dude? You'll like him. Like Umbrella Academy, brother.
But yeah, nope. Go hit those things in the link tree, and it also has a link to all of our other social medias: TikTok, Facebook. If you're a boomer,
fucking get more videos out.
Instagram.
Make more shorts, dude.
You can go make shorts out of other old ones.
I fucking can't stand going through our pod and trying to make shorts out of it, dude. It's just hours of me just sitting there listening to it. And I'm like, I can't stand, first of all, I can't stand the way I sound on a microphone or just hearing myself talk at all. I don't like it.
Fair enough. But yeah, go check out those things, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the other fun stuff in there. And we do it for the people that are new. Is it Budda?
It's Budda.
Dog.
Budda dog.
Dog with the butter.
Dog with the butter.
But yeah, for Budda Dog, we go for people that are new. We go live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Don't be offended that we just made your name a meme.
That's what we do in this channel. Should talk to Annie. We dog on her all the time, but we're personal friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go live every Wednesday. We're getting a backlog of content. Obviously, go back and watch the stuff that we have right now. We had a hiccup of equipment, just not like we were losing a lot of content, like losing almost every episode that we recording,
and then finding out that you just spent 2.5 hours to 3 hours doing nothing. Basically.
We would record 2 weeks worth of content, which is like sometimes like 8 hours of stuff. Basically, think of like you go to a work shift, like you go do your shift and you got paid nothing.
Imagine you're at your 9 to 5 and you just did nothing for that whole 9 to 5, right?
Well, no, you did everything that you normally do. Just know that it's not going to be on the paycheck. Yeah.
Oh God.
That's what happened. We did a 9 to 5 job and got paid nothing for it.
In my 9 to 5 work shift, and turns out I forgot to clock in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, say you go do your 8 hours and you forgot to clock in. That's basically how it was. But thank you guys for coming and hanging out and being a part of it. Couldn't do any of it without you guys, and we appreciate it. So we will.
I do.
We'll see you later, taters.
Nope, sorry, Mormons.
Yeah, it's the sign off now, ain't it?